Chapter 582. Ga. Only then did Kai Lehu realize that Xiao Chun was still glaring at him. He quickly stopped in his tracks. On the other side, Tai Shan and Lu Li had already blocked Kai Wujin from the left and right. Wang Fantian had already been injured. With each step, Kai Wujin was beaten until he vomited blood. However, it was 3 against 1. No matter how strong Kai Wujin was, he was no match for them. He could only take the beating. Hey, can you guys stop fighting? If you continue, someone will die. Kai Lehu was fuming with anger, but there was nothing he could do. Don't talk about those useless things. Where are the people from the Claryman family? Xiao Chun asked. This, how would the Kai family know? You should be from the Claryman family. Kai Lehu said with a bitter face. Oh, if you don't know, then beat him to death. If you know, consider it a meritorious service, and I won't beat you to death. Xiao Chun said indifferently. Now I'm looking for you to fight. If you win, you can avoid death. If you don't win, then just wait to be beaten to death. Kai Lehu was a little dumbfounded. Isn't this 2F** king unreasonable? There is such a person. Really? He looked at Kai Wujin, who was about to be beaten to death, and his face turned green. Wang Fantian continued to beat Kai Wujin to death, and Kai Wujin's internal organs were about to spit out. He was about to die, and his eyes were already rolling back. Kai Lehu gritted his teeth and could only say, Okay, stop, I'll talk. Oh, don't stop first. Continue beating him. I want to see if what he said is useful. If not, continue beating him to death. Xiao Chun said. Hee. Wang Fantian continued to beat him to death. I've already said it. Hurry up and stop. Let me tell you, Wujin is an inner disciple of the martial arts world. If he is beaten to death, you will not be able to get away with it. Kai Lehu threatened. Okay, hurry up and say it. If you don't, he might die. Xiao Chun waved his hand impatiently. If he dies, it will be because of you. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I'll talk. Kai Lehu said with a sad face. I'll talk, okay? Yes, it was our Kai family who helped them leave, but they also took away the encrypted chip. They should be out at sea now, heading back to Lego Town in Europe. Oh, that's enough. Stop fighting. Xiao Chun waved his hand, indicating that Wang Fantian could stop. Actually, don't be fooled by Wang Fangtian's severe beating. This kid had a sense of propriety. He wouldn't kill them, but he would scare them a little. Oh. Before Wang Fangtian stopped, he kicked Kai Wujin's crotch, causing him to cry out in pain. You. Kai Lehu was furious. We're just accomplices. Now that we've said it, we haven't gotten any benefits, so please let us go. What about Yorishima Kikuo? Xiao Chun asked. Is he the same? You got nothing? Yes, they're only responsible for the map. There's an insider in the research base. The specific execution is done by Vikings from the Claryman family. Kai Lehu said truthfully. Okay, then let's talk about something else, said Xiao Chun. Ugh, what else is there? I've said everything that needs to be said. Kai Lehu asked nervously. The compensation for the defeat. Tianqing Monastery has already given me 1 million. Now it's your turn, said Xiao Chun. This isn't very good, right? Kai Lehu said. We're very poor. Yeah. Xiao Chun stared. What about the money you gave to Taoist Lu Li before? He has already given me 1 million. It's your turn. I'll discuss it with you now. If you don't have it, I'll let someone go in and move the things. Take whatever is valuable. Let's talk about it after we've collected 1 million. Ugh, 1 million, I don't have it. Kai Lehu said quickly. I thought you wanted a lot. I'll give it to you now. As Kai Lehu spoke, he got someone to take out a check, write a 1 million check, and give it to Xiao Chun. At least you're sensible, but it's not empty, right? If you can't exchange it, your house will catch fire tomorrow. Xiao Chun took the check and glanced at it. No, I really can't. Kai Lehu said quickly, frightened. Oh, if that's the case, let's go. Xiao Chun nodded and left with his people. Kai Lehu quickly picked up Kai Wujin and asked, Wujin, how are you? Are you all right? These people are too overbearing and vicious. However, he had never thought that all of this was because they provoked Xiao Chun first. If they hadn't wanted to harm the Su family, how could these things have happened? Dad, I'm fine. Kai Wujin shook his head and said weakly. I know. This Wang Fantian just wanted to scare and torture me, but he didn't want my life. Although I seem to be seriously injured, I won't die. That's good. Kai Lehu breathed a sigh of relief. Kai Wujin was the hope and pillar of the Kai family. If anything happened to him, it would be too late for regrets. I won't let it go just like that. Once I hear about it, I will find a chance to report it to the sect, and let them stand up for me. Kai Wujin said with hatred. I have never suffered such a big loss before. And if you have the chance, you will naturally take revenge. Kai Lehu nodded. But for now, don't provoke him. I understand. I'm not an impulsive person. Kai Wujin said. Xiao Chen took Song Huawu, Taoist Lu Li, Taoist Tai Shan, and Wang Fantian to discuss the next plan with Song Huawu. Xiao Chen, are you really going to clear him in town? Song Huawu said. That's their territory. You really shouldn't have accepted this mission. It's not that I didn't want to accept it, but I couldn't refuse it. You saw the situation at the time. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. But this matter, the sooner the better. Are you going with me? And, of course I'm going with you. Song Huawu nodded. It's just that my strength may be lower. That's fine. You're more familiar with firearms than me. This time, we don't necessarily have to fight head-on. Since the other party used those firearms, don't you plan to return them? Xiao Chen said with a smile. When the time comes, we'll blow them up. This using firearms on a large scale isn't very good, right? Song Huawu was a little hesitant. It's their territory anyway. Who cares? Xiao Chen didn't care. He was never a person who was afraid of trouble. Since he was going to do it, he would do it in a big way. At most, he would just leave. Yang Tan would be the scapegoat for him. And Song Huawu nodded. Then I'll go back and prepare. Okay, I need to prepare too. Xiao Chen looked at the time. It was almost time to go to school. He prepared to go to school and bid farewell to Su Chuxia and Tian Souring. The mission ended here. He believed that Su Chuxia should know what happened. Xiao Chen parked the car downstairs. After waiting for a while, Su Chuxia and Tian Souring arrived. Both of them had a strange expression on their faces. For the first time, Tian Souring didn't nag when he got into the car. Su Chuxia quietly opened the car door and got in. Morning. Xiao Chen started the car. And Su Chuxia nodded. Last night. You should know about the research base. I have to go. Xiao Chen tried his best to maintain a smile, but for some reason, he still felt a little melancholic. He didn't spend much time with Su Chuxia and Tian Souring, but everyone got along well, especially Tian Souring. Xiao Chen even pretended to be her boyfriend for a few days. Why are you leaving? You haven't caught up with Sister Souring yet, right? You haven't confessed yet. Tian Souring pouted and was a little unhappy. Souring, Xiaochang has a mission. He can't play with us. Don't delay it, Su Chuxia said to her. Although she was comforting her, Su Chuxia herself was a little melancholic. The research base's data has been stolen. I have no choice. I have to go to Europe's Klarman town and retrieve the data. Xiao Chen said. This is my new mission. The mission to protect you here will end at the same time. Oh, Su Chuxia nodded. Thank you for all this time. I've troubled you. Thank you very much. It's okay. This is also my duty. Xiao Chen smiled and said, Souring, don't worry. Before I leave, I will confess to you. But you have to let me prepare. Ah, that's more like it. Tian Souring was happy again. Then, after you return from the Klarman family, will you still come to Lan City's New Moon College to study? It shouldn't be possible. Xiao Chen shook his head. I don't even know what my next mission is. Okay. Sister Souring is so disappointed. Someone just confessed, and your boyfriend is going to disappear. Tian Souring said. Didn't you say it was fake? Su Chuxia said. Souring, why did you make it real? Ah, that's not it. Tian Souring quickly shook her head. The car went all the way to school. Xiao Chen arrived at his class. He could have stopped going to school today. The reason he came was to say goodbye to his deskmate, Ling Qianxue. Although Xiao Chen suspected that Ling Qianxue was Ling Qianxue, Ling Qianxue's tone did not seem to be fake. Xiao Chen wondered if he had made a mistake. Was this just a coincidence? If not for Ling Qianxue was still a good girl. The two of them got along quite well. so Xiao Chen planned to say goodbye to her. However, Ling Qianxue had not arrived yet. Xiao Chen sat alone in his seat. He took out his mobile phone and used Weixin to create a group of followers. He added Taoist Luli, Taoist Taishan, Xia Shibin and Wang Fantian. He sent a message to these followers. I want to confess to a girl today. Can any of you help me plan it more romantic? Boss, you will definitely be a hero if you jump from a building. Awesome. Wang Fantian was the first to reply. Chapter 583. Boss, give her a bottle of beautifying and nourishing celestial water. It will definitely be effective. Taoist Taishan said. IF*CK boss, just send her to a hotel. And then IF*CK. You know, Taoist Luli said. F*CK off. Xiao Chen replied. Boss, I'm good at this. Xia Shibin came. Girls like romance. Don't worry, I'll prepare a candle array, a sea of flowers and a hot air balloon for you. I guarantee it will be super romantic and successful. And Xia Shibin's idea is not bad. Xiao Chen thought. This guy used to hang out with Yang Tan. It seems like he did this kind of thing a lot. Is that so? Then boss, I'll go prepare. Xia Shibin said quickly when he heard it. And go. I'll confess to Tian Sour. Xiao Chen said. Oh right, can it be done at noon? No problem, Xia Shibin said. However, after Xiao Chen arranged everything, Ling Qianxue still didn't come to school when it was almost time for class. This made Xiao Chen a little surprised. The homeroom teacher, Teacher Chen, walked into the classroom and said to everyone, Let me tell you a piece of news. Ling Qianxue has left New Moon Academy because of the change of her parents' jobs. She has transferred schools today. Everyone was a little disappointed and surprised after hearing this, especially the boys. Ling Qianxue was very cute. She was the goddess after Su Chuxia and Tian Sour. Some boys had already secretly fallen in love with her, but they didn't expect Ling Qianxue to transfer schools again in just a few days. This is a letter that Ling Qianxue asked me to give to her deskmate, Xiao Chang. Because she was in a hurry, she couldn't personally thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her these days. So she wrote a letter to express her gratitude. Teacher Chen said, Xiao Chang, come and get the letter. Okay. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect Ling Qianxue to transfer schools. Could it be she is Ling Qianxue? Because Night Island's mission is over. There's no need for her to stay here anymore? Xiao Chen took the letter. The letter was sealed. Obviously, Teacher Chen didn't peek at it. It could be seen that she was a very open-minded teacher. She wouldn't peek at a student's letter. Xiao Chen returned to his seat. Professor Chen also began to teach, while Xiao Chen opened Ling Qianxue's letter. Although the letter was very long, it was basically to thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her during this period of time, as well as some of the things that had happened in the past few days. After Xiao Chen finished reading the letter, he was even more suspicious. Was this Ling Qianxue really Ling Qianxue? It couldn't be, right? Otherwise, that Ling Qianxue from before had always wanted to kill him, and this Ling Qianxue even said goodbye to him. With Ling Qianxue's personality, she shouldn't have done this. As he flipped through the letter in his hand, Xiao Chen suddenly froze. Because, at the beginning of the letter, there was actually a sentence that was hidden in the letter. Xiao Qiangjuan, someone wants to kill you. Leave this place quickly. Xiao Chen was stunned. He didn't think that this was a coincidence, because this was too much of a coincidence. He looked at it carefully, and it was definitely done by Ling Qianxue on purpose, because the number of words in each paragraph of the letter was not very neat. It should be to deliberately put together this hidden sentence, so there was no way to maintain the neat format. However, after seeing this sentence, Xiao Chen felt even more that this Ling Qianxue was not Ling Qianxue. That Ling Qianxue wanted to kill him, and with someone helping her, she would probably be even more happy. Why would she remind him to let him leave? It was simply impossible. It seemed that he was thinking too much. There were probably many people with the same name in Japan, and their surnames were all different, so he didn't try to link them together. He just sighed, and he had to leave. Ling Qianxue would probably become a passerby in his life. Perhaps after some time, when he thought about it, he would have a special memory. After putting away the letter, Xiao Chun laid on the table to rest. After tossing and turning last night, he still had to have a good rest. As for Ling Qianxue asking him to leave, Xiao Chun didn't care. There were many people who wanted to kill him, so there was no need for him to hide. In the blink of an eye, it was noon break. However, some students who had finished classes early left the school building, and there were waves of cheers and exclamations coming from below. Su Chuxiao and Tian Souring planned to go to the cafeteria to eat as usual, but when they walked out of the school building, they saw a large group of people surrounding the field in front of the school building. They walked over curiously, but when the surrounding people saw Su Chuxia and Tian Souring, they all consciously made way for them. This made the two of them very curious. Why did they make way for them? However, when they walked in front of them, they were stunned. This was because this was a flower candles array. In the middle of the flower candles array, there was a hot air balloon with a banner on it that said, "Souring, I love you." Holy sh*t, it can't be? Is this for real? A nouveau riche proposed to Sister Souring. Tian Souring looked at everything in front of him in surprise. Xiao Chong, right? Su Chuxia said. Can't you break Sister Souring's beautiful dream? Sister Souring still doesn't know it's Xiao Chong. Tian Souring's eyes were full of little stars. But Xiao Chong is still fake. You're satisfied that he's fake. Su Chuxia curled her lips. She felt that Tian Souring was not satisfied. It was already very good that Xiao Chong was like this because of her, a fake girlfriend. At the end of the day, Xiao Chong was just a special agent who protected her. He even cooperated with Souring's nonsense. What was there for Souring to be dissatisfied with? Souring, be my girlfriend. Xiao Chun carried a bouquet of flowers and walked in front of Tian Souring. He handed it to her. Aha! Tian Souring rubbed her eyes. Is it true? You actually like Sister Souring so much. Sister Souring is so touched. Xiao Chun was a little speechless. Didn't she ask him to do all this? However, at this time, in order not to spoil the atmosphere, Xiao Chun still said, "Yes, can you promise me?" Tian Souring didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked very reserved. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. The students who were watching from the side all spontaneously shouted at this time. Tian Souring took the flowers and lowered her head shyly. She humphed lightly. Hug. 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 The students who were watching from the side continued to shout. Come on. Xiao Chun opened his arms. Tian Souring handed the flowers in her hands to Su Chuxia. Then, she lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun hugged Tian Souring. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly, but she didn't struggle. Instead, she buried her head in Xiao Chun's arms and hugged Xiao Chun's waist. Kiss. 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 The students who were watching from the side wanted to see the world in chaos. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly in Xiao Chun's arms. There's no need for that. It's quite sour and shy. Xiao Chun smiled as he helped her out of the predicament. However, what Xiao Chun didn't expect was that Tian Souring suddenly raised her head. Her lips gently pecked Xiao Chun's lips before moving away. Then, she broke free from Xiao Chun's embrace and quickly left. Su Chuxia glanced at Xiao Chun and went to chase after Tian Souring. Xiao Chun didn't chase after her. Instead, he sighed slightly. He didn't know if Tian Souring was playing around or what. But he also had to leave. He quickly walked out of the crowd. Everyone thought that he also went to chase after Tian Souring. In fact, Xiao Chun went to the parking lot. Xia Shibin would help him settle the procedures to leave the school. He had to prepare to go to the Claryman family in Lego Town. Souring, why did you take the initiative to kiss him just now? Have you really fallen for Xiao Chong? Su Chuxia's expression was very serious. She caught up with Tian Souring and asked her. Of course not. Do you think Sister Souring will fall so easily? Tian Souring said. However, the happiness on her face made Su Chuxia feel that Tian Souring was lying. Then why did you take the initiative to kiss Xiao Chong? Su Chuxia asked. Isn't that the situation back then? Everyone was shouting that I couldn't kiss him. Tian Souring scratched her head and said awkwardly. Then Sister Souring got excited and couldn't help it. I think you're just in love, right? Su Chuxia carefully observed Tian Saoring's expression. She felt that there must be something wrong with Tian Saoring. How could that be? Tian Saoring quickly said, Saoring, let me tell you, Xiao Chang is only here to carry out a mission, and will leave very soon. There's no result even if you like him. Don't fall for it yourself. Su Chuxia reminded her. Although Xiao Chang was a good person, Su Chuxia had to admit that Xiao Chang and Tian Saoring weren't suitable. They could be friends, but as a boyfriend, I know. Also, isn't Saoring going to be taken back by the family? Tian Saoring said with a smile. Chuxia, don't worry. Sister Saoring knows the severity of the situation. Okay. Su Chuxia nodded. Control your emotions. Okay. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Tian Saoring said. Why do you only know how to date other than eating? This school is for you. Su Chuxia was really speechless. Hey, what date? That's fake. Tian Saoring quickly explained. I don't care. Su Chuxia shook her head. However, what Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring didn't expect was that Xiao Chen actually didn't appear again in the afternoon. Teacher Chen, the homeroom teacher, announced an explosive news. Student Xiao Chang also transferred schools due to some reasons. I really didn't expect that within a day, 2 students in our class would transfer schools. Teacher Chen said with a sigh. Xiao Chang was a good student. Originally, she wanted to use Xiao Chang to increase her teaching reputation, but she didn't expect Xiao Chang to transfer schools at this time. Chapter 584. Could it be that Xiao Chang and Ling Qianxue had arranged to transfer schools together? Teacher Chen shook his head when he thought of this. If that was the case, Ling Qianxue wouldn't have asked him to bring her a letter. It was obviously not arranged. It was just a coincidence. At this moment, many of the students who had experienced the confession at noon understood that Xiao Chang might have already known that he was going to transfer schools. Therefore, before he left, he confessed to his beloved goddess Tian Saoring. Seeing Tian Saoring's dazed expression, the students sighed. Sister Saoring had fallen for him. Saoring, what's wrong? Su Chuxia also felt that something was wrong with Tian Saoring's mood. Nothing. Tian Saoring didn't know why, but she suddenly felt like crying. She leaned on the table and said weakly, Chuxia, I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest for a while. You don't want Xiao Chang to leave? Su Chuxia also noticed something. Chuxia, do you want to? Tian Saoring asked in return. I don't want to either. Su Chuxia was stunned. She realized that during this period of time, Xiao Chang's days were quite good. They were happy every day, and he often cooked and sent them to and from school. Sigh, life is full of parting. Tian Saoring sighed with vicissitudes. Sister Saoring's relationship ended before it even started. You really took it seriously? Su Chuxia asked suspiciously. Then shouldn't I invest a little more? Tian Saoring said. Forget it. I'll just treat it as a breakup. Long live the breakup. On the other side, Xiao Chen had already gone to the airport with Song Huawu. To the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It was very easy to add 2 extra plane tickets at the last minute. The 2 of them used aliases this time. Xiao Chen's name was Yang Tan, and Song Huawu's name was Hua Xiaowu. The 2 of them were a couple from Xia Kingdom. They were going to Lego Town for a vacation, and needed to transfer a few planes to get to Lego Town. Both of them were expert cultivators. Therefore, even though it was a long journey, they didn't seem very tired. After transferring several planes, and finally taking a train, the 2 of them arrived near Lego Town. However, it wasn't Lego Town yet. Because Lego Town was located on an island, if the 2 of them wanted to go there, they had to take a boat. As for the boats, there was only one trip every morning. They would leave early in the morning and return late at night. At this time there were no more boats. Thus, the 2 of them booked a room at a place called Masri Restaurant, on the opposite shore to rest. It was not unusual for the 2 of them to share a room. In order to prevent their identities from being exposed during a mission, they had to endure it no matter what. Moreover, with the relationship between Xiao Chun and Song Huawu, there was no need to hide it at all. They had seen what they should see, and they had seen what they should not see. Xiao Chun, I want to take a shower. Do you want to go first or should I? Song Hwawu came to the room and lay down on the bed lazily. Her physical strength was not as good as Xiao Chen's, so she was still a little tired. Do you want to join us? Xiao Chen teased. Sure. Song Hwawu smiled and said, Do you dare? I don't dare. Forget it. Xiao Chen shook his head. I knew it. Song Hwawu stood up and walked to the bathroom. In the end, she even said, coward. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Song Hwawu had been teasing him along the way. Did she think that she was not afraid of anything after being seen by him? Actually, Song Hwawu was not joking. She really hoped that Xiao Chen would come and peek. She did not know if there was something wrong with her. She only knew that in the past, Yang Jiannan always wanted to peek at her. But she was always on guard. But now she wanted to peek at Xiao Chen. Was it because Yang Jiannan had messed with her that she was mentally abnormal? After taking a shower, Song Hwawu came out in a bathrobe. She did not wear anything inside. She went to bed. Xiao Chen glanced at her and said, Hwawu, do you really think that I don't dare to push you? Oh, Song Hwawu responded, and looked at the magazine on the bedside. She was proficient in many languages, so she had no difficulty reading. This made Xiao Chen very helpless. He could only go and take a shower. After Xiao Chen took a shower, Song Hwawu was still on the bed. He did not know what she was doing. She did not watch TV properly. She took the remote control and changed the channel. What are you doing? Asked Xiao Chen. I heard that foreign hotels have erotic channels. I'm looking for one, said Song Hwawu. Why are you looking for that? Xiao Chen was stunned. He thought to himself, I didn't see it. After interacting with her for a while, I realized that Song Hwawu was a sultry type. To watch it with you, Song Hwawu said matter-of-factly. All right, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. Are you coming? Asked Xiao Chen. I've been hungry for a long time. Song Hwawu jumped out of bed and put on her clothes. She took off her pajamas and wore nothing underneath. She did not care that Xiao Chen was beside her. Xiao Chen was stunned. He turned around and said, Hwawu, can't you avoid it? Aren't we a couple? Song Hwawu asked. But isn't that a disguise in front of outsiders? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. The details determine success or failure. If you are usually secretive, you might make a mistake at a critical moment. Song Hwawu said. As an excellent agent, you can't have complicated thoughts. We do all this for the mission. All right, then did you and Yang Jiannan carry out missions like this in the past? Asked Xiao Chen. In his dreams, said Song Hwawu. Xiao Chen didn't understand Song Hwawu's logic. After putting on their clothes, the two of them went downstairs side by side. There was a restaurant downstairs. Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu walked in. Xiao Chen didn't know the language here. At this moment, there were many people in the restaurant. Xiao Chen looked around and found an empty seat to sit down. However, a waiter came over and said something to him. He didn't understand, so he turned to look at Song Hwawu. Song Hwawu began to communicate with the waiter on the side. After a while, the waiter nodded and took out the menu. What does he want to do? Asked Xiao Chen. Nothing. He said that this table has been reserved, but half an hour has passed since the reservation, so he let us use it first, said Song Hwawu. Oh, Xiao Chen didn't mind. Instead, he looked at the pictures on the menu and casually ordered a few things. Song Hwawu added a few more, and the waiter went to work. The efficiency of serving the dishes was very fast. Not long after, the dishes were served. Just as Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu were about to enjoy them, a loud noise came from not far away. Xiao Chen frowned. He thought that someone was drinking and causing trouble, but he didn't expect that the noisy person would walk straight towards Xiao Chen's table. The leader was a young man. Behind him were 3 young men and 2 female companions. They came over and shouted in the local language, "Who has taken my place? You're quite bold. Hurry up and get them to give it up. Otherwise, you know the consequences." What did they say? Xiao Chen asked Song Hwawu. It seems to be the person who made the reservation. Let the waiter settle it. It has nothing to do with us. Song Hwawu shook her head. She didn't want to cause trouble. Xiao Chen nodded and glanced at the leading man. This man had fair skin and was well dressed. He should be a rich man, but this had nothing to do with Xiao Chen. After looking at him, Xiao Chun continued eating. However, he hated this person a little. He didn't come at the time he made the reservation. Why was there so much trouble when he was late? However, there was no need for him to confront him directly. The restaurant would deal with this matter. Sure enough, the waiter kept talking to the young man. However, when the young man saw that Xiao Chun didn't get up to give up his seat, and even pretended not to hear and continued eating, he immediately flew into a rage. He, Ramit, was the young master of the Claryman family, the largest family in the vicinity. He was a domineering existence in the vicinity of Lego Town. Didn't people quickly scram when they saw him? At this moment, this person pretended not to see him and completely ignored him. How could he tolerate it? Ramit was furious. Wasn't this person obviously looking down on him? He didn't care about the waiter's words anymore. He walked over and lifted Xiao Chun's tablecloth. All the food on it fell to the ground. There was a series of crackling sounds. However, Xiao Chun and Song Huawu were both warriors and cultivators. They weren't affected at all. Not even a drop of vegetable soup splashed on them. I'm sorry. The waiter scowled miserably and hurried over to apologize to Xiao Chun and Song Huawu. However, he spoke in English this time, as if he knew Xiao Chun didn't understand his language. Can I arrange another seat for you two right away? This seat was reserved by young Master Ramit. You see, what's this person's job? Xiao Chun pointed at Ramit and asked in English. If it weren't for the fact that he was on a mission, he would have sent this person flying with a slap. Just as the waiter was about to explain, one of Ramit's companions stepped forward. Kid, you're new here, right? Don't you know who has the final say in this sea? This is Ramit, the eldest young master of the Claryman family, the biggest gang here. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Otherwise, I guarantee that you won't be able to leave this sea. The man pointed at Xiao Chun and shouted arrogantly. Claryman family? You're from the Claryman family? Xiao Chun was shocked. He didn't expect to meet the person he was looking for here. He immediately calculated in his heart. If he could capture this person, he could get a lot of valuable information from him. Otherwise, he would be in the dark about the Claryman family. Thinking of this, a smile flashed across the corner of his mouth. Kid, do you want to die? How dare you smile? Do you want to die? When the man saw that Xiao Chun was actually smiling, he was extremely angry. Did this person really not know how terrifying the Claryman family was? Oh, sorry. We'll leave now. Sorry. Since Xiao Chun had made up his mind, he naturally had to show weakness first. Chapter 585. If he took them away in the restaurant, it would attract the attention of other local forces. Perhaps the news would quickly spread to the Claryman family. So he planned to wait for these people to leave the restaurant before making his move. At least you know what's good for you. When the man saw that Xiao Chun had shown weakness, he was very proud. In fact, although he was the great young Master Ramit's follower, fighting in the restaurant would not only affect his mood, but it would also be too conspicuous. Since the other party had shown weakness, it could not be any better. When the waiter saw that Xiao Chun had compromised, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief and quickly led the two of them to the side. Then he said, I'm sorry, please wait a moment. There will be a table of guests finishing eating soon. I'll help you arrange it. I'll give you another portion of your food and give you a 50% discount. How about that? Okay, no problem. Xiao Chun nodded. When the waiter saw that Xiao Chun was easy to talk to, he breathed a sigh of relief and quickly went to serve Ramit. Xiao Chun's previous seat had a good view. He could see the night view of the sea, and the seat was relatively spacious. Xiao Chun was now waiting for an ordinary table for two. It was very small, and there was nothing to see, but it did not matter. Young man, let your girlfriend sit here and wait. I'll finish eating soon. At the place where Xiao Chun was waiting, an old man was eating alone. He was almost done eating and was about to finish. He greeted Xiao Chun in English. Okay, thank you very much. Xiao Chun was a straight-A student in school, so he had no problem communicating in English. He thought about it, sat down, and let Song Huawu sit on his lap. He saw that many couples were doing the same not far away. Song Huawu did not hesitate. She sat on Xiao Chun's lap and rubbed her buttocks twice. Xiao Chun immediately reacted, and could not help but pat Song Hwawu, indicating that she should behave. Song Hwawu turned her head and grinned. It was obvious that she did it on purpose. "You're welcome. Over there are people from the Claryman family. You must be visiting. Don't provoke them," the old man said slowly. "They have a lot of power in the area. If we were to provoke them, it would be very troublesome. You guys are wise to not clash with them and give up your positions. Otherwise, so the Claryman family is very powerful around here?" Xiaochen asked, nodding. "That's right, it's not just powerful. It's like covering the sky with one hand." At this point, the old man sighed and a trace of sorrow flashed in his eyes. "Is no one doing anything about it?" Xiaochen asked. "Manage? Who cares? Who can control it?" The old man shook his head. "You don't know this because you're not from around here. Lego Town is their private land. It's an island they bought. It's their own territory." "I see." Xiaochen did not expect the Claryman family to be even more powerful than the Kai family. They could actually afford to buy an island. "You're not from around here. It's normal that you don't know, but I'm very puzzled. This is not a tourist city. What are you doing here?" The old man said, a little puzzled. "Those who come here are either the leaders of some small gangs that have joined the Claryman family, or are here to buy firearms. Very few people come here to play. We're traveling on our own. We just want to go to some deserted places to see the local customs. We didn't expect to encounter such trouble." Xiaochen shrugged helplessly and said, "I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It's very chaotic." The old man sighed. "Otherwise, I'll be an example." "You?" Xiaochen looked at the old man in surprise. "I'm not a local. 30 years ago, I brought my fiancé here to play, just like you now." As the old man said this, a flash of sadness flashed in his cloudy eyes. "In the end, I was young and impetuous. I had a conflict with the Claryman family. My fiancé was kidnapped by them. After being raped, my fiancé committed suicide by jumping into the sea. Not even her body was found." Xiaochen frowned and was a little angry. He did not expect the Claryman family to be so rampant. In Lan City, although the Kai family was a martial arts family, they did not dare to do this. "Old sir, please restrain your grief. If there's a chance, I'll avenge you," Xiaochen said. "Haha, I don't think about revenge anymore." The old man only thought that Xiaochen was comforting him. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. "I just want to stay here with her now. As for the Claryman family, I don't have any thoughts about them. They're too powerful. I just hope." "Oh." Xiaochen was slightly stunned. "I just hope to meet a suitable person who can help me teach them a lesson." "Forget it. Let's not talk about this. I'm done eating. You guys can eat." As the old man spoke, he stood up and called for the waiter to settle the bill. Xiaochen and Song Hwawu sat down. Very quickly, their dishes were served again. Xiaochen began to eat without batting an eyelid. "What are your plans? This doesn't seem like your character," Song Hwawu asked as she ate. In Lan City, if anyone dared to talk to Xiaochen like this, Xiaochen would cripple them, if not kill them. Song Hwawu knew that Xiaochen was a ruthless person, but she backed down today. "After we finish eating, find a chance to tie up Ramped and ask him about the Claryman family," Xiaochen said. "This will make it easier for us to act. If we have a conflict in the restaurant, it will alert them." "So you've already planned it. No wonder." Song Hwawu felt that something was not quite right. "Yes," Xiaochen nodded. On the other side, Rant and his companions were obviously eating happily. They were happy that Xiaochen was tactful. However, they ate a little slowly, which made Xiaochen a little unhappy. They were taking their time eating. Just as Xiaochen was getting impatient, these people finally got up and prepared to leave. However, Rant, who was walking in front, obviously had no intention of paying the bill. He swaggered out of the restaurant, and the people behind him whistled coolly. They had no intention of paying the bill at all. Xiaochen shook his head. These people were really arrogant. The waiter clearly saw them, but he did not dare to say anything. Xiaochen and Song Hwawu had already paid the bill. They got up and followed them out. These people were drunk. Rant, who was walking in front, said, "I'm going to find a hotel to sleep for a while. You guys have fun." "Yes, young Master Ramit." A few of them hurriedly agreed. It could be seen that Ram's alcohol tolerance was the worst among them. After the others finished drinking, there was not much of a problem, but Ram could not. Accompanied by everyone, he staggered to the more luxurious hotel opposite Xiao Chen's. Similarly, the receptionist not only did not dare to register his identity, but did not even dare to collect the room fee. Instead, she gave him a luxurious presidential room. "I'll go up myself. There's no need for you guys." Ram waved his hand. Although these people were his subordinates, they were all his supporters. He was the second-in-line heir of the family. Whether he could ascend to the position in the future or not, he still needed the support of these people. Hence, he was very polite to these subordinates. Okay. They nodded. Obviously, they had experienced this kind of thing many times. They were not surprised at all, and turned to leave. As for Xiao Chun and Song Huawu, they turned to enter the hotel after they left. "Hello." The receptionist saw Xiao Chun and Song Huawu come in, so he greeted them. "Young Master Ramt is looking for us to deliver something to him. Which room is he in?" Song Huawu asked. "Ah, it's in room 1201. The receptionist was taken aback. He did not dare to be negligent and quickly replied. "Oh." Song Huawu snorted and walked in the direction of the elevator with Xiao Chun. The people around Ramt were very arrogant. The receptionist had already experienced it, so he naturally did not think there was any problem. When Xiao Chun entered the elevator, he could not help but shake his head. Sigh, not only did these people not pay, but they were also so arrogant. He had to greet them with a smile. Otherwise it would be a big problem. The two of them went up to the 12th floor and came to the door of room 1201. This was an independent room at the end of the corridor. There were no other doors nearby. At first glance, this room was very big. Xiao Chun opened the door casually, but Song Huawu was stunned. She looked at Xiao Chun in astonishment. Even a normal locksmith would need some time to open a lock, right? Moreover, the lock of this kind of hotel was relatively complicated. There was no keyhole, but it was unlocked by a sensor card. But he did not expect it to be opened so easily. How is it possible? However, before he could ask anything, Xiao Chun walked in. Song Huawu quickly followed him and closed the door behind her. At this moment, Ramp was sleeping on the bed. Xiao Chun walked over, grabbed Ramp's hair, and pulled him up. With a casual toss, Ramp was thrown to the ground. He was in a daze from the fall, and half of his drunken state had sobered up. Who? Ramp exclaimed. When he saw that the person in front of him was Xiao Chun, he was shocked and angry. "It's you? Kid, you dare to cause trouble for me?" "Oh." Xiao Chun stepped on Ram's face. "Can you stop asking nonsense? I'm already here, and you still ask me if I dare or not. Are you stupid? If I were you, I would quickly kneel and beg for mercy. Maybe I won't beat you to death." You dare to beat me to death?" Ramp was a little shocked. "If you dare to touch me, believe it or not, you won't be able to leave the Lego waters." "Oh." Xiao Chun kicked Ram's stomach, and this guy suddenly vomited on the ground. All the food and drink that he had eaten and drunk were vomited out. Xiao Chun picked up Ramp with some disgust and threw him to the other side. Then he said to Song Huawu, "Open the window. This smell is too bad." Chapter 586. Ramp seemed to have found a life-saving straw. When he heard Xiao Chen's words, his eyes lit up. "Don't come over. If you dare to come over again, I'll puke all over you." "Oh, Xiao Wu, open the big window. Open it wider. I'll throw this person out," Xiao Chen said directly. "Okay." Song Huawu went to open the window. Xiao Chun was about to grab Ramp, and Ramp was so scared that he peed his pants. Seeing that Xiao Chun was about to grab him, he quickly shouted, Don't. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you go before. I was wrong." This time, Ramit was really scared. The person in front of him was ruthless, and from his calm expression, Ramit knew that he had run into trouble. "You think it's over just because you were wrong?" Xiao Chen asked. Seeing that the person in front of him had no intention of compromising, Ram could not help but threaten. Big brother, I admit that I was wrong before, but don't push your luck. The Claryman family is not to be trifled with." "Oh, is that so?" Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Do you know why you're still alive now? Why you weren't killed by me before? As Xiao Chun spoke, he casually picked up a copper statue that was placed in the room and crushed it into a copper ball. Then he directly smashed it onto Lamont's body. Lamont immediately cried out in pain, but his heart was filled with shock. Martial Knight? Ramp said in surprise. At this moment, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that the person in front of him was a legendary martial artist. Otherwise, he would not have such great strength. Judging from the roundness of this bronze ball, the person in front of him was at least at the 7th or 8th stage of inner force. I heard that you're from the Claryman family. It just so happens that I'm going to make a move on the Claryman family. So I left you alive and didn't kill you on the spot. Xiao Chun said as he looked at Ramp calmly. Ha! Ramp was stunned. Then he suddenly laughed. Ha 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 ha. I said that you're too funny. You want to touch the Claryman family? I advise you to forget about it. Even if you are a martial master, it is useless. The Claryman family also has martial jockeys and more than one. If you go, you'll be courting death. So you'd better let me go and run. This won't do you any good. Haha, you don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about whether I can succeed or not. Right now, killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Xiao Chun kicked Ramit's head, causing him to tumble. Don't talk nonsense to me. Now answer whatever I ask you, or I'll kill you. According to what you said, since we are going to die anyway, we might as well kill you first. Ah! Ramit stopped laughing. He felt that the person in front of him was a lunatic. He knew that he was going to die, but he still insisted on going. Most importantly, this person was right. It was as easy as flipping a hand to kill him. How many martial artists and martial masters are there in your family? Xiao Chun asked. Answer truthfully. I have already gotten some information from someone else. I'm just confirming. If you lie to me, you know the consequences. Ramit hesitated for a moment, but then he thought that this was not a secret. If he told the person in front of him, he could not do anything to the Claryman family. It would be suicide no matter what. It was more important to stay alive, so he said, Our family has 15 martial knights and 4 martial jockeys. How strong are the martial jockeys? Xiao Chun asked. 1 level 1 martial jockey, 2 level 3 martial jockeys, and 1 level 4 martial jockey. Ramit answered truthfully, calculating in his heart. If this person did not ask about the number of martial knights, then he must also be an expert at the martial master level. Otherwise, he would not only care about 1. Oh, got it. Xiao Chun nodded and said, Do you know where one of your people, Vikings, stole an encrypted chip and brought it back? Oh, there was a flash of vigilance in Ramit's eyes. He looked at Xiao Chun and said, I don't know what you're talking about. What encrypted chip? My family doesn't have that thing. My family sells firearms. Oh, whatever you say. But if I'm unhappy, I'll punish you. Do you know what a firebird is? Xiao Chun smiled coldly and looked at Ramit maliciously. Firebird? Is it the immortal phoenix? Ramit was stunned. He did not know what this question meant, so he answered after thinking for a while. Firebird means to make your bird catch fire. Xiao Chun saw that Ramit was still confused, so he condensed a fireball and said, It means to burn your crotch. Ah! Ramit shivered in shock and shook his head repeatedly. No. Are you going to tell me or not? Xiao Chun asked with a smile as he played with the fireball. Tell me what? Ramit asked carefully. Then you'd better play with the firebird. Xiao Chun threw the fireball at Ramit's crotch. Ouch! Ramit screamed. A burning sensation spread to his crotch. He involuntarily rolled back and forth on the ground, trying to extinguish the fire on his body, but it was to no avail. Xiao Chun threw another water ball over and extinguished the fire on Ramit's crotch. However, Ramit's crotch was scorched black. Ramit almost fainted from the pain. How can you just attack me like that? There's no room for negotiation at all. Now, I'll continue to ask you. Do you know where the encryption chip is? Xiao Chun smiled and said, Next time, I'll let you play with fiery chrysanthemum. Although Ramit didn't know what flaming chrysanthemum was, he knew that it couldn't be anything good. The name was a little scary. After hesitating for a while, he decided that there was no harm in telling the person in front of him, since he was no match for the family. So he said, That's right. That was stolen by my cousin. He's also the heir of the family. He made a great contribution this time. The family meeting even considered raising his ranking before mine. Don't talk nonsense. I'm asking you, where is the encryption chip now? Xiao Chen asked. The encryption chip? Of course, it's in the secret room of our Claryman family. Only the current patriarch has the authority to open it. No one else can enter, Ramit said. Ramit said, I'm not lying to you. Even my cousin Vikings who stole this chip can't get it now. If you don't study the decryption chip, what's the use of hiding it? Xiao Chen suddenly asked, puzzled. It's not really hidden. Ramit explained. Our family doesn't have an expert who is good at decryption, but the Sakura group that cooperates with us has a professional technician. We wait for him to come over, and then we study the decryption together. But before that, to avoid any accidents, we put away the encryption chip first. Then now draw me a map of your family. Xiao Chen nodded. What Ramit said was reasonable, and looking at his expression, he did not seem to be lying. Drawing it is useless. You can't be a match for the Claryman family. Ramit muttered. Do you want to try fiery chrysanthemum? Xiao Chen snorted. I'll draw it. Can't I draw it? Ramit shook his head. What he said and the map to be drawn were not a big secret at all. Many people had been to the Claryman family, and they all roughly knew the location inside. As for Vikings stealing the encryption chip and cooperating with the Sakura group, it was probably Xiao Chen who knew about it. Otherwise, he would not have been able to find this place. Song Hua Wu took the pen and paper, gave it to Ramit, and asked him to draw the map on it. After a while, Rant finished drawing and handed it to Xiao Chen. He said, Take a look now. Isn't this fine? You can let me go, right? Xiao Chen took the map and looked at it. Although the map was not very well drawn, it was very clear. All the places and positions were marked. But what Xiao Chen was most concerned about was the location of the secret room. Well, okay. Take us back with you tomorrow, Xiao Chen said lightly. Go back together? Ramit was a little puzzled. Is this person really not afraid of death? Does he think that with his strength alone, he can deal with the Claryman family? Yes, you can sleep for a while now, Xiao Chen said as he slapped Ramit's neck, making him fall asleep. What should we do? Take him away, or stay here? Song Hua Wu looked at the vomit on the ground with some disgust. Also, Ramit was now wearing diapers, and she could not bear to look at him. Of course, take him back. Xiao Chen rummaged through the room, and only found a woven bag for a quilt, but it did not matter. Xiao Chen folded Ramit, and stuffed him into the bag. Then he carried the bag, and did not take the elevator. Under the cover of the night, he stood in front of the window sill, and said to Song Hua Wu, You come. Hold me on my back. You want to jump down? Song Hua Wu was a little surprised. Yes, Xiao Chen said. It's not good to take the elevator directly while carrying the bag. It will not be good if people notice us in advance. Oh, Song Hua Wu believed in Xiao Chen's ability, so she jumped on his back and hugged him. Xiao Chen carried the bag, and jumped directly from the 12th floor. No one noticed. This was the back of the hotel. After landing safely, Xiao Chen took 2 steps before he felt someone behind him. Hua Wu, we're here. Why aren't you coming down yet? Xiao Chen asked. Are we here? I closed my eyes just now. Song Hua Wu jumped down and said naturally. Okay. Xiao Chen quickly walked in front, and returned to the restaurant they were at before. Ramit's disappearance did not attract much attention. In the past, Ramit would wake up the next day, and contact his gang of scoundrels. If he did not take the initiative to contact them, no one would disturb him. Chapter 587. Xiao Chen hit Ramit again. He probably wouldn't wake up for a few hours. Xiao Chen, aren't you a bit of a pervert? Song Hua Wu asked as she lay on the bed. Why do you say that? Xiao Chen asked. Otherwise, why would you have a firebird and a chrysanthemum? Song Hua Wu stared at Xiao Chen. I think you have an extraordinarily heavy taste. Ugh, wasn't that just to scare this kid? Xiao Chen was speechless. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so obedient. Okay. Song Hua Wu didn't say anything else. In fact, Song Hua Wu felt that she had a psychological problem. so she thought that Xiao Chun had a psychological problem like her. That way she would feel more at ease. Who knew that Xiao Chun seemed to be fine? What's wrong? Look at you. It seems that I'm fine, but you're not happy? Xiao Chun was a little puzzled when he saw Song Huawu pouting. He had a feeling that this chick had become a little abnormal after he treated her injuries. Oh, that's not true. Song Huawu blushed. She naturally couldn't admit that she was a bit abnormal and liked being stared at by Xiao Chun. So she pretended to say, I just think that next time, you shouldn't let him be disheveled in front of a girl. Otherwise, if he sees something he shouldn't see, he'll get a pinprick. Ha! Then why did you look for an adult channel? Xiao Chun asked curiously. Didn't I watch it with you? Song Huawu said. Besides, that's beautiful. How can it compare to this disgusting one? Okay, you always have a reason. Xiao Chun shook his head. Go to sleep. I'll watch Ramit. This kid can't run away. And then you come to bed too, Song Huawu said. Xiao Chun had a feeling that Song Huawu was trying to seduce him, but he still did as she said and lay down on the bed. Otherwise, he would have nowhere to go. Even if he had to monitor Ramit, he needed a place to rest. Song Huawu was clearly tired and soon fell asleep. However, Xiao Chun continued to cultivate. The next morning, Song Huawu woke up and put on her clothes. Only when the two of them were busy did Ramit wake up. At first, Ramit thought that he was out of danger. However, when he opened his eyes, he saw Xiao Chun and his face was full of bitterness. Big brother, you haven't run yet. I told you, you're no match for the Claryman family. Won't we know once we get there? Besides, I'm going to talk to your patriarch. If he doesn't agree, I'll take measures against him. Xiao Chun said. All right. Ramit thought to himself that the person in front of him must be a lunatic. With just the strength of the two of them, they wanted to go against the Claryman family? Wasn't that courting death? However, let him be. It was fine as long as he was fine. Then now quickly change your clothes and lead the way. Take us to see your patriarch. Xiao Chun said. Oh, okay. Originally, Ramit was still thinking about how to secretly inform the family, but now it saved him a lot of trouble. These two reckless people wanted to follow him back to the family. When they reached Lego Town, it would be the Claryman family's territory. At that time, Xiao Chun would not be able to escape even if he wanted to. Seeing that Ramit was so happy, Xiao Chun did not say much. He took him and Song Huawu and checked out of the room, then went to the dock. Ramit and Xiao Chun each had their own thoughts. In his opinion, Xiao Chun was courting death, so there was no need for him to offend him anymore. Ramit's D*CK was still hurting, and he was still walking like a big crab. The three of them came to the dock together. Everyone was waiting in line for the ticket office at the dock to start selling tickets. Because it was still early, the tickets had not started selling yet. However, Ramit did not go to line up. He swaggered to the deck of the cruise ship, not caring whether it was open or not. However, when the staff in charge of ticket inspection saw Ramit, he immediately opened the railing with a smile and let Ramit board the ship first. A sailor on the ship came over and asked quickly, Young Master Ramit, you and your companions are still sitting in the first-class cabin, right? A sailor on the ship came over and asked quickly, Young Master Ramit, you and your companions are still sitting in the first-class cabin, right? And Ramit snorted faintly, then, under the guidance of the sailor, entered an independent private room. This was the first-class cabin of the cruise ship. Ramit, I didn't expect you to have such a big face. You still want to sit in the first-class cabin without paying? Xiao Chun's words were a little sarcastic, but Ramit did not hear it. Instead, he said proudly, That's right. In the Lego Sea, everyone has to give face to the Claryman family, unless they want to die. This cruise ship transportation company also has to pay a large management fee to our family every year. Ramit said this because he wanted Xiao Chun to be more polite to him. However, Xiao Chun just nodded indifferently and said, Then you probably don't have to pay in the future. Why? Ramit was stunned. If I destroy your family, then there's no need. Xiao Chun smiled and said, Of course, if you obediently hand over the chip, I will consider letting your family go. Is there something wrong with this person's brain? Ramit cursed in his heart. but he did not dare to refute. He could only say, "Oh." In his heart he thought, "If you go to Lego Town you will die." Xiao Chun and Song Huawu each picked up a newspaper and leaflet distributed on the ship and read it. Ramit watched the TV in boredom. After a while, other guests gradually boarded the ship, and the ship set off for Lego Town. Although Lego Town was dominated by the Claryman family, there were still many other residents in the town. The fishing industry here was very developed, and most of these people were in the seafood business. Of course, there were also people who went to discuss cooperation with the Claryman family. Although the Claryman family was in the arms business, they also had some other businesses, but they were all handled by some collateral relatives. After about an hour, the ship arrived at the dock of Lego Town, and Ramit was naturally the first to get off the ship. "Brother, what do you want me to do now?" Ramit asked Xiao Chun after getting off the ship. "Find me a place and let your family head negotiate," Xiao Chun said. He did not want to go back to the Claryman family with Ramit for the time being. He was not afraid of the other party's warriors and masters. As long as Xiao Chun wanted to escape, those people would not be able to stop him. However, he was afraid of guns and cannons. This was the Claryman family's base camp. They had started off by selling arms. If Xiao Chun was bombed there, it would not be worth it. As for a larger hotel, no matter how crazy the Claryman family was, they could not directly open fire on the hotel. That would be destroying their own foundation. There would definitely be many Claryman family guests in the hotel. Sure enough, when he heard that Xiao Chun did not want to go with him, and simply wanted to find a hotel to wait, he was a little unhappy. He believed that as long as Xiao Chun followed him, he would definitely die a horrible death. However, since Xiao Chun had spoken, he could not refuse. He nodded and said, "There's a Claryman hotel nearby. It's run by my family. I'll send you there. Lead the way." Xiao Chun nodded. This Claryman hotel was indeed luxurious. Xiao Chun took a look and felt at ease. This hotel's architecture was very exquisite and unique. If the Claryman family could destroy a hotel for him alone, they would be out of their minds. Because Ramit was there, Xiao Chun did not have to pay to stay. Ramit returned to his family. He had to report this matter to the family head and the elders as soon as possible. After leaving the hotel, Ramit flagged down a taxi. He did not want to walk back. His D*CK was already hurting. The taxi driver obviously knew Ramit and did not dare to neglect him. Although he knew that he would not earn any fares, he still greeted him with a smile and sent Ramit to the Claryman family. The Claryman family was located on an independent island near the small town of Lego. It was connected by a suspension bridge in the middle. On the other side of the suspension bridge, it was completely the private territory of the Claryman family. The car drove across the suspension bridge and stopped in the empty parking lot in front of a European-style castle. Ramit got out of the car without paying, then limped toward the castle. The taxi driver did not dare to say much and drove away. However, Ramit had only taken a few steps when a tall man walked toward him. This man was the first-in-line heir of the Claryman family. He was also the grandson of Mallory, the current patriarch of the Claryman family, Jorli. He was Ramit's cousin. In fact, although Ramit was the second-in-line heir, he had no intention of competing for the position of the family head. He knew his own capabilities, and knew that he did not have the ability to shoulder the responsibility at all. His ultimate goal was to eat, drink, and have fun, and then become an elder of the family. He had obtained his position as the second-in-line heir entirely, because he and Jorli had the same grandfather. Although Ramit was born of a concubine, he was still of the main bloodline, so he became the second-in-line heir. As for the third-in-line heir, Vikings, he was the grandson of an elder. "My dear cousin Ramit, what's wrong with you? Why are you walking sideways like a crab, and why are you so sullen?" Jorli looked at Ramit, who was walking sideways with an unhappy expression, and asked curiously, "Don't mention it, cousin. I'm really unlucky this time." When Ramit thought of Xiao Chun, he immediately gritted his teeth in anger. He said hatefully, "I was taught a lesson in the Lego Sea yesterday. You don't know. I almost became a woman, and my birdie was burned." "Ah, what happened?" Jorli's eyes widened in disbelief. "You were taught a lesson? But who dared to touch you? Didn't they know you were from the Claryman family? Chapter 588. Hey, isn't it all because of that fellow Vikings? Ramit rolled his eyes and said, the two people who dealt with me are both from Great Xia. Vikings went to Great Xia and stole the encrypted chip. In the end, he was found out by them. And they happened to know that I was the young master of the Claryman family. As a result, I was unlucky. They taught me a lesson and forced me to bring them here. Oh, Xiao Kelly was stunned. So they followed you here? Not really. I arranged for them to stay at the Claryman Hotel. But this is all because of Vikings. Cousin, we can't just let it go. Ramit said sternly. Vikings has been very active recently. He wants to use this merit to snatch my position as the second-in-line heir. Cousin, you know me. I have always followed your lead and definitely won't snatch your position as the young master in the future. But Vikings is different. That fellow is ambitious. If he surpasses me and becomes the second-in-line heir, he will definitely launch an all-out attack on you. Well, what you said makes sense. Xiao Kelly couldn't help but frown after hearing this. He was also calculating in his heart. As the first-in-line heir of the family, naturally, it was not just because of his identity as the first grandson. He also had his own thoughts in other aspects. He was thinking about the pros and cons of this matter, and whether it would bring him any benefits. Of course, revenge for Ramit was a must. But before that, he had to make a big deal out of it and affect Vikings. How could he do this? In his opinion, it was tantamount to courting death for only two people to dare to cause trouble at the Claryman family. It was very easy to kill them, but if they died, they would at most help Ramit vent his anger. He thought about it and said, how about this, Ramit? You come with me to see Grandpa, and then you tell him everything that happened. Is that okay? Of course, there's no problem. Ramit laughed. He understood what Xiao Kelly meant. That was to cause trouble for Vikings. Of course, he was happy to do so. Vikings did not have a good relationship with him. Of course, he had to support Xiao Kelly's ascension. Only when Xiao Kelly was promoted would he have a good life in the future. Otherwise, if Vikings was promoted, he might not even be able to get the position of an elder. Although Ramit's abilities were limited, he was still outstanding. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been the second-in-line heir in such an intense family. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Then, they walked into the most majestic castle in the courtyard. This was the residence of the elder Clarman, the core of the Clarman family's power. In the Clarman family, the only person who could be called Old Clarman was the patriarch, because no one else could represent the Clarman family. In the living room of the castle, Xiao Kelly thought for a while and said to Ramuda, Cousin Ramuda, rest in the living room for a while. I'll report to Grandpa. Then I'll leave it to you, cousin. Ramit nodded, sat on the sofa and said, by the way, cousin, help me out. Don't tell anyone that I'm causing trouble outside. When they walked into the castle, Ramuda did not hide anything and told Xiao Kelly everything that had happened in detail. However, this did not mean that he could tell Old Clarman about it. Xiao Kelly smiled at Ramuda and said, don't worry, Ramuda. I know what I'm doing. I'll definitely put in a good word for you with Grandpa. That's good. Thank you, cousin. Hearing Xiao Kelly's words, Ramuda was relieved. Xiao Kelly went upstairs, while Ramuda read the newspaper in the living room. The servants served him juice and coffee. Of course, Ramuda was not in the mood to drink these. He was worried about his grandfather's attitude. Not long after, footsteps came from the stairs. Xiao Kelly and Old Clarman came downstairs together. The two of them talked as they walked. Grandpa, this is what happened. This is really an unexpected disaster for Ramuda. Xiao Kelly said, if Vikings hadn't bragged about it outside and made it known to everyone, how would others know that he was from the Clarman family? Why would they come looking for him? Well, you're right. Vikings is still too young, and he's too impetuous. He went out to look for someone to cooperate with. As long as he showed his strength, he wouldn't have to worry about not being able to find someone to cooperate with. He revealed his family background, so he could only reveal his background, said a vigorous and powerful voice. It was Elder Clarman of the Clarman family. Grandpa, you're here. I'm really sorry to have caused you trouble. I was beaten up, and I've embarrassed the Klarman family." When Ramuda saw his grandfather coming downstairs, he quickly stood up, looking like a child who had done something wrong. "Well, Xiao Kelly has already told me about it." "It's not your fault," Old Klarman said. Old Claryman said, "Vikings is too young. He's causing trouble outside. It's just that you're unlucky." "Grandpa, it's not Vikings' fault. He did it for the family. Don't blame him too much," Ramuda said. "I heard from Xiao Kelly that those two people wanted to talk to me about something?" Old Klarman asked. "Yes, they said they wanted to talk to our family master about something," Ramuda said. "Grandpa, are you going? They threatened to take action against our family." "Just the two of them and you?" Old Klarman was a little puzzled. Where did they get their confidence from? Do they think they can do anything to the Klarman family with just the two of them? "I don't know, Grandpa, but they are all martial knights or martial jockeys," Ramuda said. "Well, the other party is probably from the Desya country's Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's not good for us to get rid of them in broad daylight. If we want to get rid of them, we have to find the right time." Old Klarman nodded and said, "Let's do it this way. I'll hold a family meeting to study it. Xiao Kelly too." "Yes, Grandpa," Xiao Kelly replied quickly. Xiao Kelly had become the most prestigious young man in the family's third generation. If there were no accidents, he would become the family's third-generation candidate for the family master, so he would attend all the family meetings. However, it was worth mentioning that ever since Vikings completed this task and obtained the encrypted chip, his status in the Klarman family had skyrocketed. He was now allowed to attend the family meetings. This was a treatment that even Ramuda, the second-in-line heir, did not have. It was enough to show how much the family valued him. Although Old Klarman was somewhat biased towards his grandson, Xiao Kelly, Vikings' ascension was unstoppable. The other elders had agreed, so he could only agree. Otherwise, if they quarreled, it would affect the unity of the family. Even the family master could not have the final say. The family meeting of the Klarman family was held. Attending the meeting were Old Klarman, the great elder, who was Vikings' grandfather, the second elder, the third elder, and Xiao Kelly and Vikings' two juniors. The great elder was Old Klarman's younger brother, while the second elder and the third elder were the sons of Old Klarman and the great elder respectively. They were also the fathers of Xiao Kelly and Vikings. The Klarman family maintained the habit of passing the position across generations. Generally, it was the grandfather who passed the position to the grandson. As the second generation of the family, although they would have a place in the Elders Association, they could not challenge for the position of the family master. This was a tradition. The frequent change of the family master would bring some unstable factors to the stable development of the family, because everyone was fighting for power and profit. Now, the second generation simply did not have the right to inherit the position of the family master. There was the old family master above, and the second generation below. It was impossible for the third generation to stir up too much trouble. This is what happened. Everyone understands the situation. This matter is entirely because Vikings revealed his identity outside, causing the other party to come to our door, Old Klarman said after briefly describing the situation. This can't be blamed on Vikings, right? The great elder spoke. He was Vikings' grandfather, so he naturally spoke for Vikings. He went to Great Xia to look for cooperation. If he did not reveal his identity and background, who would cooperate with him? Grandpa, Vikings is indeed at fault in this matter. Vikings quickly lowered his head at this time, and took the initiative to admit his mistake. Although they may not believe me if I don't reveal my identity, I feel that as long as I work hard to show my strength, they will eventually be able to cooperate with me. It's just that the research at the research base is nearing its end. I'm afraid that if it takes too long, the encrypted chip will be sent out again. By then it will be too late for us to take action. Although Vikings was admitting his mistake, he also clarified a key point. That was, he did not have the time to show his strength for fear that the encrypted chip would be sent out. Old Klarman's old face turned red. Vikings did not mention this matter when he came back. He thought that Vikings was eager for quick success, but now it seemed that Vikings was thinking for the sake of the family, and was afraid that the encrypted chip would be lost. Grandpa, I think Vikings is also doing it for the family. Our ultimate purpose is for the family. But as far as I know, before Vikings set off, he had already made contact with the Wave Dojo and the Sakura group over there. He used his identity as a member of the Klarman family. He did not reveal his family background only after understanding the situation. Jock Kelly added with a fake smile. He had already investigated the matter thoroughly. Old Klarman was suddenly amused again. Jock Kelly was still the best at this crucial moment. He nodded and said, "Well, Vikings is indeed wrong in this matter. So let's make up for his mistakes. He is still the third-in-line heir. Does anyone have any objections?" Of course not. The Great Elder had no choice. It was not a big deal that Vikings had been caught. But who would have thought that the other party's people would come and beat up Ramped? This time, it became Vikings' responsibility. Chapter 589. I'll follow the family's arrangements. Vikings' heart was bleeding. He hated the two people from Great Xia to the core, and he wished he could kill them as soon as possible. Originally, nothing had happened, and he was about to fight for the position of second-in-line heir. In the end, well then next let's study how to deal with these two people from Great Xia. If my guess is right, they should be special agents from Great Xia. People from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Old Claryman said, "Grandfather, since these two people dared to provoke our Claryman family and beat up Cousin Ramped, I suggest we send the family's experts to kill them." Vikings hated Xiao Chun and Rudolph to the core, so his first thought was to kill them to vent his anger. Well, not bad. I think Vikings has been following up on this matter. It's better to let Vikings handle it. Xiao Kelly had achieved his goal of suppressing Vikings, so he no longer cared about how to deal with Xiao Chun and Rudolph. He just needed to vent Ram's anger. As for whether they were killed, tortured, or maimed, it didn't matter. Well, sure. Then let Vikings handle this matter on behalf of the family. Old Claryman nodded. Yes, master. Vikings nodded. In his opinion, killing the two special agents from Great Xia from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was as easy as flipping his hand. Vikings also had a lot of authority in the family, especially since he was under the orders of the master this time. Therefore, he mobilized the family's two martial jockey experts, one level 1 and the other level 3, to the Claryman Hotel. The other party claimed to be negotiating with the Claryman family's patriarch. What a joke. Two outsiders actually wanted to behave atrociously in Lego Town. They really didn't know what was good for them. Vikings didn't even intend to show up. Instead, he just let the two of them kill them. He hated them to the core. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of these two people, and coincidentally teaching Ramped a lesson, he would have become the second-in-line heir by now, right? Thinking of this, he was filled with hatred. He said to the two military jockeys, "When you get there, ask them if they are from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Whether they are or not, just kill them and bring their bodies back. But remember, you must control the battle within a controllable range. Don't affect the other tenants and the reputation of the Claryman family." If there was a murder in the Claryman Hotel, to a certain extent, everyone would feel that even the Claryman family's hotel was not safe. In that case, they would not be able to stay in Lego Town. Don't worry, young Master Vikings. We'll get rid of them quietly. The two martial cavalry masters nodded. All right, you guys go ahead. Vikings didn't think too much about it. In his opinion, the experts of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were at most first-stage martial artists, because high-level martial artists couldn't carry out these missions. The first-level and third-level martial riders got ready and headed to the Claryman Hotel. They successfully found the room Xiao Chun was in and knocked on the door. Who is it? Song Huawu had just come out of the bathroom after washing two fruits. She asked when she heard the knock on the door. Waiter, I'm here to provide you with free condoms, the first-level martial rider said. Song Huawu was stunned, and her face turned red. However, after thinking about it, she still opened the door. Song Huawu couldn't be blamed for being careless. If they had knocked on the door for any other reason, Song Huawu would definitely have asked in detail. However, This waiter was here to deliver condoms, so Song Hwa didn't suspect anything. What bad guy could use such a strange reason? Moreover, Song Hwa also wanted to tease Xiao Chun and secretly place the condoms on his bed to see his reaction. Therefore, Song Hwa was afraid that Xiao Chun would hear her from inside, so she quickly opened the door. She actually found it difficult to understand her own thoughts now, and it felt weird. The moment the door was opened, it was pushed open by a huge force. Song Hwa was bounced back by the door and fell to the ground. The fruits in her hands also fell to the ground. 2 burly men walked in, and the third-level martial rider behind them closed the door. In fact, Xiao Chun also heard what the waiter said. How could he not hear it? With his cultivator's 6 senses, it was naturally impossible to hide from him at such a close distance. However, he didn't pay much attention to it. However, when he heard that something was wrong, he quickly walked out. At that moment, a pistol with a silencer was pointed directly at Xiao Chun's head. Song Hwa was ignored. The moment Song Hwa was bounced back by the door, she only displayed the strength of a martial artist. To the 2 martial riders, this was no threat at all. They didn't even bother to point their guns at her. In their eyes, Song Hwa was a dead person. However, the relationship between the 2 of them was that of a senior and junior brother. They had trained together since young, so they had a tacit understanding of each other. Seeing that Song Hwa was beautiful and was an Asian, which was rare to see an Asian beauty here, the 2 brothers were prepared to kill Xiao Chun in a while and play with Song Hwa before killing her. Wouldn't it be a waste to kill such a beautiful woman? Tell me, where are you from? What organization do you belong to? Pointing at Xiao Chun's third-layer martial rider, he shouted, "Tell me the truth, and I'll give you a quick death." As you can see, one of us is a first-layer martial rider, and the other is a third-layer martial rider. If we want to torture you to death and interrogate you about your background, it's as easy as flipping our hands. The level 3 martial rider spoke in English, so he didn't believe that Xiao Chun couldn't understand him. He thought that since Xiao Chun was a special agent, it was impossible for him not to know English. "Oh, what did you say?" Xiao Chun asked in Great Xiao's language. "Who are you people?" "We are tourists." Ah, the level 3 martial rider was stunned. He didn't understand what Xiao Chun was talking about. When he saw Xiao Chun's innocent look, he was stunned. He said that they are tourists, but that's impossible. "Kid, tell me the truth." The level 3 martial rider could understand Great Xiao's language. He looked at Xiao Chun coldly and said angrily, "Don't try to deceive us. Our patience is limited." Xiao Chun was deliberately stalling for time. With his own ability, he obviously couldn't contend with 2 martial master level experts. It wasn't a problem for the level 3 martial rider to fight them. The level 3 martial rider was too big of a gap. "Oh, then kill me. I am really a tourist," Xiao Chun said innocently. Don't think that I won't dare to shoot." The level 3 martial rider was thinking of playing with Song Hwa later, so he was a little anxious. Since Xiao Chun didn't say anything, he didn't have to say anything. He pulled the trigger and went back to tell Vikings. As long as Xiao Chun didn't say anything, it would be fine. Anyway, with the corpses in hand, he just needed to do a little investigation and ask his 2 partners, the Cherry Blossom Group and the Surge Club, to find out the true identity of these 2 people. Bang! There was a loud sound. "Ah!" Xiao Chun screamed, giving Song Hwa, who didn't know what to do, a fright. Song Hwa fell to the ground and didn't dare to act rashly. These 2 people didn't hide their aura, and the strength of a level 1 and level 3 martial master was completely exposed. Just as she was worried, the other party opened fire. At this moment, Song Hwa wanted to pounce on these 2 people and fight it out with them. Something had happened to Xiao Chun. Her heart contracted fiercely. She didn't know why, but she was very concerned about Xiao Chun now. Perhaps it was because she was an orphan since she was young, but she was actually lonely inside. Suddenly, she had a friend like Xiao Chun, who was closer to her than a good friend. Song Hwa regarded him as her everything. However, what happened next made her speechless. She even wanted to stand up and give Xiao Chun a kick. "Why did you scream when you said you were fine?" It's so tragic." Xiao Chun looked at the level 3 martial rider, whose pistol had exploded in front of him, and said pitifully, "Your right hand has exploded. The power of your gun is really not small. As expected of a family that sells firearms. It's powerful, but the quality isn't so good. You didn't kill me, but you blew yourself up." The level 3 martial rider was also stunned as he looked at his missing right hand and his raised forearm with the bloody gourd. He couldn't believe that the pistol would explode. How was that possible? However, the piercing pain made him understand that all of this was true. He regretted not using his chi to protect his body when he fired. In fact, who would have thought that he would need to protect himself when he shot someone with an absolute advantage? This was completely illogical. The reason for such a strange scene was that Xiao Chun had secretly instructed in Xiaoma while he was stalling for time just now. He secretly condensed a small ice ball in his hand and asked in Xiaoma to secretly stuff the small ice ball into the pistol of the level 3 martial rider. And Xiaoma's movements were very fast. He quickly completed this action when the level 3 martial rider turned his head to explain and returned to Xiao Chen's divine sense space. How hard was the ice condensed from vitality? It would be strange if it didn't explode when it was stuffed into the chamber of the gun. However, the two martial riders would never have thought that Xiao Chun would play such a trick. Just as the two martial riders were panicking, Xiao Chun directly hit the level 1 martial rider with a fireball. The man instantly turned into a flaming man screaming. The level 3 martial rider also reacted at this time and attacked Xiao Chun with his left hand. However, this person was good at attacking with his right hand. The strength of his left hand was much weaker, and he was also good at using his fists. This time, the strength of the level 3 martial rider was greatly reduced. "Hua Wu, shoot him!" Xiao Chun yelled at Song Hua Wu. Song Hua Wu was stunned. She didn't have a gun. She and Xiao Chun came through the proper channels. They took several flights along the way, and the security check was very strict. It was impossible to bring a gun here. However, the level 3 martial rider didn't think of this. He thought that since Xiao Chun and Song Hua Wu were secret agents, it was not a big deal for the secret agents to have guns. His family also sold weapons, so he also knew how easy it was to buy weapons locally. Chapter 590. Getting a gun from any gangster leader was not a difficult task at all. Therefore, in an instant he turned his head to look at Song Hua Wu, only to be greeted with a kick from Xiao Chun. Although the kick did not cause any harm to him, it made his body hit the body of the first-floor martial rider. Instantly, the true samadhi fire began to spread on his body. Ouch! He had never expected such a terrifying flame to exist. Only when he was truly engulfed in flames did he understand why the first-floor martial rider had not extinguished the flames on his body. Instead, the flames were burning even more vigorously. Both of them kept rolling on the ground and screaming. However, the momentum of the first-floor martial rider was getting weaker and weaker. The floor of the room was made of gorgeous marble, but it would not burn. Xiao Chun was not worried that it would burn Song Hua Wu. However, Xiao Chun's 3 true samadhi fires were rather large. Trying to extinguish the fire by rolling on the ground was undoubtedly a fool's dream. Xiao Chun had almost exhausted all his primordial chi to activate this ultimate move. If it was so easy to extinguish, what was the point of playing? Very soon, the first-floor martial rider could not take it anymore. Waves of burnt smell came from his body, and the third-floor martial rider was also struggling on his deathbed. The two of them had come in high spirits, thinking that killing Xiao Chun would be a piece of cake. Even taking down Song Hua Wu had been part of their fantasies. However, they had not expected that the moment they met, the two of them would die. "Hua Wu, open the window." Xiao Chun smiled coldly and said to Song Hua Wu. At the same time, his eyes were filled with mockery and sympathy. "If the two of you can survive, tell your family heads to come personally next time. Don't send you as cannon fodder." Sigh, how pitiful. The two martial riders' eyes were filled with horror. They did not know what Xiao Chun was going to do. At this moment, Song Hua Wu had already opened the large floor-to-ceiling windows. Xiao Chun, on the other hand, raised his leg and kicked the first-floor martial rider's body, as if he was kicking a soccer ball. He was sent flying out of the window. Next was the third-layer martial rider. He was also kicked out by Xiao Chun with a whoosh. He wanted to resist, but he was unable to do so at all. Aha! 2 screams came from outside. Just as Xiao Chun went over to close the window, he heard 2 loud bangs. It was obvious that the 2 of them had already fallen down the building. Xiao Chun casually glanced down and saw 2 pools of blood. These 2 martial cavalry masters couldn't be any more dead. It seemed like his wish of reporting to their clan's patriarch would not come true. Sigh, how pitiful. Xiao Chun curled his lips. Xiao Chun. Song Huawu hugged Xiao Chun's waist from behind. Her body softly pressed against Xiao Chun's body. What are you doing? Xiao Chun's body stiffened. He was at a loss. Song Huawu had only been flirting with him verbally. Why did she suddenly press herself against him? I was scared to death just now. I thought the 2 of us were finished. Song Huawu said with a lingering fear. You don't know how those 2 people looked at me. Their eyes were filled with lust, and I was too weak to do anything. They were experts at the 1st and 3rd level of the martial master realm. I'm afraid. What? Those 2 wanted to do something to you? That was too good for them. If I had known, I would have let them have a taste of the firebird and roasted chrysanthemum. After hearing this, Xiao Chun did not think much about it. Song Huawu was a girl. After being frightened, it was normal for her to find someone to hug. Coincidentally, he was her good friend. He could make her do that. Therefore, Xiao Chun patted Song Huawu's back and comforted her. It's okay. It's just a few mobs. It was rare to see someone in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau who dared to say that a martial master was a mobs. Moreover, the other party was a 3rd-floor martial master. Then hug me again, Song Huawu said. Okay, then hug. Xiao Chun hugged Song Huawu from the front. The 2 of them hugged each other in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, like a pair of romantic lovers. However, the downstairs was not so romantic. It could even be said to be filled with horror. In broad daylight, many guests of the Claryman Hotel were wandering downstairs, basking in the sun, drinking drinks and chatting. However, who would have thought that suddenly, there would be 2 loud bangs. 2 burning people fell from the sky and smashed into pieces. Although they fell in a green belt in front of the hotel, they were not too far away from these people. Seeing this bloody scene with their own eyes, these people all screamed and scattered. Only a few bold ones watched from afar. At this time, the security team of the Claryman Hotel immediately sent a pair of security guards. While collecting the 2 corpses, the manager of the Claryman Hotel, Baxa, dialed the number of the Claryman family. Because it was an important matter, after several transfers, it was finally transferred to the head of the family's elder Claryman. What's wrong, Baxa? I heard you say that something happened at the hotel. What happened? Old Claryman said calmly, not panicking at all. Yes, reporting to the old patriarch. Just now, 2 people on fire suddenly fell from upstairs and landed on the lawn in front of the hotel. They were smashed into pieces and blood was everywhere. It was very scary. What do you think we should do about this? Baxa said hurriedly. The security team has sealed off the vicinity of the hotel and temporarily restricted guests from checking out and leaving. Oh, there's no need to restrict them. I know what's going on. Old Claryman scolded Vikings in his heart. Didn't he know that making a move in the hotel would affect the reputation of the Claryman family? It would be fine if it was an ordinary hotel, but the key thing was that this hotel was his family's. What's more, they even made it so scary. Who did Vikings send to do it? That's good. We'll keep the corpses first, and then restore order in the hotel? Baxa asked. Yes, I'll send someone to take over the 2 corpses, Old Claryman said. All right, Baxa hurriedly replied. After hanging up the phone, Old Claryman immediately called for a family meeting. To everyone's bewilderment, he severely criticized Vikings. Vikings, why don't you consider the consequences of your actions? Just throw those 2 people on fire from the window of the hotel. There are guests downstairs. Even if there is a green belt below, what if they accidentally hurt the guests? And do you know how much your actions will affect the reputation of the Claryman family? Vikings was a little puzzled. Patriarch, the people I sent haven't replied yet? And I also told the two of them not to be too ostentatious. Patriarch, I think it's better to wait for those two people to come back and ask them about the situation. After all, Vikings didn't go. Maybe there was an emergency at that time? The great elder said. Just now you also mentioned that they were on fire. Our people shouldn't burn others randomly. I think it's possible that those two people were not strong enough, so they wanted to self-immolate and perish together. That's why our people were afraid of burning the hotel. So they threw them out of the window? Old Clerryman thought about it. The great elder did make sense, and his goal of suppressing Vikings had been achieved. Regardless of whether that was the case or not, Vikings was responsible. So he said, that's true, but Vikings still failed in his duty. How about this, Vikings? Quickly contact the two people you sent out and ask them what happened. Yes, Patriarch. Vikings nodded and dialed the phone number of the two military jockeys. In the hotel room where the corpses were stored, the deputy captain of the security team was guarding it. Suddenly, a phone rang from the corpse. It turned out to be a phone call from the third-floor military jockey. The phones carried by the martial artists of the Clerryman family were all triple-proof phones, made of special materials. They were fireproof, waterproof, and resistant to falling. Before the Samadhi true fire on the third-floor military jockey could spread, he was kicked off by Xiao Chun and fell to his death. Otherwise, even a triple-proof phone would not have been able to escape the Samadhi true fire. The deputy captain of the security team was shocked. He quickly walked over and took out the phone, but he was stunned. Wasn't this a custom-made phone from the Clerryman family? As the deputy captain of the security team, he also used such a phone. If it were an ordinary phone, he would not have picked it up, but not only was this phone a custom-made phone from the Clerryman family, but the caller ID was actually young Master Vikings. Seeing this, the deputy captain of the security team quickly picked up the phone. Hello, young Master Vikings. Where are you? Why aren't you back yet? Why doesn't the voice sound right? Who are you? Vikings was halfway through his sentence when he suddenly realized that the voice was not quite right. It was not the voice of a level 3 martial rider, so he quickly asked, Young Master Vikings, I am the deputy captain of the security team of the Clerryman Hotel. The deputy captain of the security team said quickly, Oh, why are you answering the phone? Where's the level 3 martial rider? Vikings asked, What level 3 martial rider? Are they our Clerryman family's guards? The deputy captain of the security team asked curiously, Where did you get your phone from? Vikings asked quickly, On top of one of the corpses. The deputy captain of the security team replied, Corpses? Did those two outsiders snatch the martial rider's phone? Vikings asked curiously, I don't know. The deputy captain of the security team was also confused. By the way, are those two corpses a man and a woman? Suddenly, Vikings thought of a terrible possibility. Although he could not believe it, he still asked. No, judging from their physical characteristics, they should be male corpses. What's wrong? Is there a problem? The deputy captain of the security team asked. Chapter 591. Vikings suppressed his anger and said, If you want to look for the Clerryman family, you can look for me. I can talk to you. Don't be impulsive. Vikings quickly waved his hand and said, We are here to find out the other party's background and intentions. Since the other party has the ability to kill two of us, it means that they are not weak. I don't understand. Speak in Great Xiao or English. Xiao Chun said. All right, in that case, let Vikings bring two Clerryman warriors. Old Clerryman made the final decision. Vikings was a little annoyed, but when he thought of the other party's strength, he held it in and said, I am Vikings, the third-in-line heir of the Clerryman family. Chapter 592. Could they be twins? He waved in the direction of Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun walked over with Song Huawu and sat in front of Vikings. He picked up the menu on the table and waved to the waiter on the side. Waiter order. Vikings was a little depressed. I, the host, am here. You want to order without even greeting me? How rude. However, he could not fall out with Xiao Chun because of such a small matter. He could only say the same. Mr. Xiaochang, take a look at what you want to eat. You can order anything you want. Bullshit. Xiao Chun said in a bad mood. Then, he took the menu and ordered everything that was expensive to the waiter. He ordered a whole bunch of dishes. Vikings was a little speechless, but he did not say anything. This hotel belonged to the Claryman family. This food was nothing. When Xiao Chun finished ordering, he said, "Let me introduce myself." There's no need for introductions. Vikings, tell me what you want. Xiao Chun waved his hand and interrupted him. Being interrupted by Xiao Chun again, Vikings was a little depressed. However, he still said, "Okay, the 2 military jockeys of our family were killed by you, right? Are you here to get revenge for them?" Xiao Chun asked. "Of course not. I'm here to negotiate this time. However, don't think that we're afraid of you." As he spoke, Vikings waved his hand. The 2 military jockeys beside him revealed their strength as a level 3 and level 4 martial master. "Oh, a level 3 and a level 4 martial master. Are you here to scare me?" Xiao Chun said as he drank his juice. Seeing that Xiao Chun was not afraid at all, and was even drinking his juice leisurely, Vikings was a little timid. Could it be that Xiao Chun was very powerful? Was he confident that he could kill these 2 military jockeys? Otherwise, why would he have such an expression? In fact, Xiao Chun did not have any confidence, but he could not show his fear. As long as he showed fear, the other party would definitely attack him. He had only been able to kill those 2 martial cavalry masters because of luck. It was no problem for Xiao Chun to kill the first-layer martial rider, but the third-layer martial rider, if it wasn't for his pistol exploding and blowing off one of his hands, Xiao Chun wouldn't have been able to kill him so easily. Not to mention, there was now a 3rd-layer and a 4th-layer martial rider. Xiao Chun was no match for them at all, but he purposely acted very mysterious, so Vikings definitely wouldn't dare to act rashly. After all, he didn't know how the 2 martial riders died at that time. "Hurry up and say what you want to say," Xiao Chun said. Just as Vikings was about to speak, the food that Xiao Chun ordered was served. Then, Xiao Chun waved his hand and said, "Okay, no need to say anything. Wait until I finish eating." Vikings was about to explode. Xiao Chun ignored him and ate the food in big mouthfuls. He kept commenting on the food and gave it to Song Huawu to taste. Seeing the 2 of them showing off their affection, Vikings suppressed his anger and didn't explode. He was the 3rd in line to be the heir, not because he was stupid. Looking at Xiao Chun and Song Huawu's current appearance, they weren't injured at all. In other words, they easily and happily killed the 2 military jockeys. This meant that Xiao Chun could also kill the 2 current military jockeys and himself. Vikings didn't dare to take the risk. Whether he and the 2 jockeys died or he survived, it would be fatal for him. If these 2 people died, even if he survived, it would be over. Or rather, the Vikings' family would be finished. Without the military jockeys, how could they have their current glory? He would also be disqualified as the heir. So after weighing the pros and cons, he waited for Xiao Chun to finish eating. Although the 2 jockeys beside him were angry, they also knew that Xiao Chun was not a good person, after seeing that Xiao Chun killed the 2 previous jockeys without suffering any injuries. Finally, Xiao Chun and Song Huawu finished eating. Xiao Chun wiped his mouth and burped. He squinted at Vikings and said, "You can speak now. Speak." "Sir, what brings you to Lego Town?" Vikings said. "If I'm not mistaken, you are all from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, right? The first thing is to get back the encrypted chip," Xiao Chun said. "I'm afraid I can't comply with that. Every profession has its rules. The chip is now in our hands. Although I snatched it back, I have already handed it over to the family. I have no right to take it back to you," Vikings said. "What can you do?" Xiao Chun asked. "I just want to say that we should mind our own business. The 2 of you can't do anything to my family, and it's impossible to snatch it. I think it's better to go back as soon as possible. I snatched the chip and injured your girlfriend, Song Huawu, but you also killed 2 of the Claryman family's military jockeys. Isn't that even?" Vikings said. "Even? You're really naive." Xiao Chun curled his lips. I've read a book called Pure and Ambiguous. I think you're very silly and naive. So you don't want to agree? Vikings' expression changed. The second thing is to avenge Song Huawu, Xiao Chun said without answering the question. Vikings was stunned. He saw a fireball coming at him, and his whole body burned in an instant. Before he could say anything, he turned into a pile of ashes. His strength was just that of a warrior, a military knight. Under Xiao Chun's samadhi true fire, he had no ability to resist at all, and was burned to death instantly. The two military jockeys were a little dumbfounded. What kind of martial arts technique was this? How did Vikings get burned to death without saying a word? Just in the blink of an eye. Did he turn into ashes? The two of them immediately felt a chill run down their spines. They believed that Xiao Chun was able to kill the two martial cavalry masters from before. With this kind of strength, killing two martial cavalry masters would be a piece of cake. They didn't dare to act rashly in the face of unknown things. This kind of martial arts technique was beyond their understanding. The two of them were at a loss. Do you know why I kept you alive? Xiao Chun asked. That move just now had happened in the blink of an eye. Furthermore, they were sitting in a corner, so there were no customers paying attention to the sudden disappearance of a person. Of course, even if they noticed, they would think that they had seen wrongly or had seen wrongly. I don't know. The two military jockeys were a little shocked and looked at each other. From their point of view, Xiao Chun dared to kill people on the spot with such a strange and terrifying method. He was certainly not afraid of them, and he even spoke to them so casually. This meant that Xiao Chun's strength should be enough to defeat the two of them. Therefore, the two of them wouldn't be stupid enough to make a move. If they died, they would have died in vain. Go back and send a message to your patriarch. Ask him to come see me quickly. Otherwise, I will destroy your Claryman family. I mean it, Xiao Chun said lightly. Don't doubt me. You can try. Okay, we will bring your message back. The two military jockeys nodded and responded. All right, I won't keep you. When you leave, settle the bill. Xiao Chun waved his hand. Okay. The two military jockeys responded again and got up to leave. They didn't want to stay a minute longer. This person was too scary. After the two people left, Song Huawu was still stunned and at a loss. That Vikings was killed by you? Yes, he dared to blow you up. I was already very kind to him by not torturing him before killing him. Xiao Chun said. There are too many people here, so I couldn't torture him. Otherwise, he would have died even more miserably. Gosh! Song Huawu's heart was filled with sweetness. Xiao Chun was avenging her. Did Xiao Chun care a lot about her? Yes, it must be. He just knew that he couldn't stay in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for long, and he was afraid of implicating her, so he didn't respond. Continue eating. You don't say. The food in this hotel is really delicious, Xiao Chun said. You're still in the mood to eat? Those two military jockeys were scared off by you. If they go home and bring more masters, what will you do? Song Huawu was a little worried. Let's not talk about anything else. Even if a large group of martial artists besieged you, it would be hard enough. Oh no, Xiao Chun smiled. The Claryman family didn't have the guts to be that crazy. Which family didn't use all their strength when facing a mortal enemy? He was just an outsider now, and he hadn't even attacked the Claryman family yet. Why would they send all their masters? In fact, the Claryman family really couldn't. The two military jockeys hurried back to the Claryman family and reported the news of Viking's death, as well as the words that Xiao Chun had asked them to bring. Old Claryman, the Great Elder, and the others were dumbfounded on the spot. Although Old Claryman always suppressed Vikings, he didn't want him to die. This person was still very smart. When he grew up, even if he didn't become the patriarch, he would become an elder and be a helper to Xiao Kelly. But he was dead just like that. The Great Elder immediately burst into tears. He hadn't expected that Vikings would be killed just because he went to negotiate. Moreover, he heard that it was a very strange martial arts technique. It was just a fireball, and he turned into ashes in an instant. Xiao Kelly, the second elder, and the third elder also had very complicated feelings. For a moment, they didn't know how to deal with it. Call for a family meeting. We must discuss a countermeasure. Old Clarryman broke the silence and said with a sorrowful expression, "The other party is very powerful. We must adjust our previous strategy and take it seriously." Everyone nodded and entered the family meeting room. After sitting down, the great elder said with a livid expression, "Patriarch, the other party is too despicable. I think the Clarryman family must fight back." Great elder, everyone wants to fight back, but how do we fight back? Are you going to fight back? Old Clarryman was still clear-headed at this moment. 2 military jockeys were killed by him. 2 military jockeys were scared back by him. Vikings was also killed by him. Tell me, who can kill him? Chapter 593. After hearing this, the great elder's heart suddenly trembled, and he sobered up. He naturally knew the other party's strength. Old Clarman was right. Who could deal with them now? Although the Clarman family was indeed very powerful in Lego Town, they were somewhat powerless in the face of a powerful individual like Xiao Chun who did not play by the rules. At this time the third elder, who was Viking's father, looked carefully at Old Clarman and asked respectfully, "Patriarch, doesn't our family have a great elder in the sanctuary?" Sanctuary? After Old Clarryman heard this, his gaze suddenly froze. He fixed his gaze on third elder's face, and his tone became gloomy and cold. There was an indescribable chill in it. "Third elder, you have to be clear about this. If we ask the Grand Supreme Elder to act because of this, will we be scolded?" The great elder said that we can only look for him when the family's survival is at stake. Now is it the survival of the family? But Vikings has been killed, and we are also being threatened. We still don't dare to fight back. Isn't this the survival of the family? The third elder lowered his head, feeling wronged. Vikings has been killed. That's because he was causing trouble outside, and they came looking for him. How is this a survival of the family? Old Clarman's expression was a little ugly. We snatched the other party's encryption chip. Isn't it normal for them to come looking for us? It's actually very simple to solve this matter. Either we return the chip to them, and the two of them will definitely leave. We don't even need to do anything. It's not a survival of the family at all. If we use this reason to alarm the great elder, who will bear the responsibility if he blames us? But that encryption chip was exchanged with Viking's life. If we just hand it over, it's really. Besides, it's not good for the Clarman family's reputation. When the third elder heard Old Clarman's tone, he knew that there was nothing to think about, but he still tried his best to fight for it. "Then what do you think we should do? Do you have a better idea?" After listening to the third elder's words, the second elder couldn't help but frown. In fact, he also knew that the third elder didn't want to compromise. Otherwise, Vikings would have died in vain. But in fact, the second elder also didn't want to go to war. It was a fact that the other party was stronger than him. If he continued to go against them, it would be an unwise choice. The third elder did not have much confidence in these two mysterious masters from the east. However, when he thought of his dead son, he said in a deep voice, "I think we can't compromise on this matter, but we can also not go against them head-on. We can give them an ultimatum and ask them to leave the Clarryman Hotel within a time limit. Otherwise, we will take measures." "Take measures? What measures have you taken?" Old Clarryman asked curiously. "Do you have anything that can threaten the other party?" "Yes." The third elder nodded his head and said, "We made a mistake before. We thought that our cavalry masters were no match for them, and so did I. I even wanted to go to the sanctuary to ask the Supreme Elder to come back. But in fact we can solve it ourselves. Don't forget what our family does, we have firearms." "Oh, what do you mean?" Old Clarryman had a general understanding. "If they leave, then so be it. In the future, we won't interfere with each other's business, and our family's reputation will still be there. But if they don't leave, we will be ruthless and chase away all the guests of the Clarryman Hotel. Then, we will blow up the hotel with a few rocket launchers. I don't believe that no matter how powerful they are, they won't be afraid of guns." The third elder said, "I heard that one of the female agents was injured by Vikings. The reason why he can enter and exit the research base like it's on flat ground is also because of the intensity of the firearms. Well, that's a good idea. Then, the third elder will be responsible for this matter on behalf of the Claryman family. Old Claryman nodded. It was worth it to save face for a hotel, so he agreed. Okay, Chief. I'll send them an ultimatum now. When the third elder heard that old Claryman had agreed, he immediately went to write the ultimatum. In his opinion, he did not want Xiao Chun to move away. The more stubborn Xiao Chun was, the more he could blow up the hotel and kill these two people to avenge Vikings. He did not want these two people to leave with their tails between their legs. Therefore, after the third elder went back, he racked his brains to write an ultimatum. The words in it were harsh. His purpose was very simple. He wanted to provoke Xiao Chun and make Xiao Chun not leave, so that he could carry out his next move. The ultimatum was full of sarcasm. After he was done, the third elder asked the family disciples to send it to the Claryman Hotel, and then asked the waiter to send it to Xiao Chun's room. Dang dang dang. Not long after Xiao Chun returned to his room after his meal, there was a knock on the door. However, this time, Xiao Chun did not let Song Huo open the door. Instead, he walked over and looked out through the peephole. He saw a person outside the door dressed as a waiter. Xiao Chun had seen this waiter before. He was indeed from this floor. So Xiao Chun opened the door. Hello, sir. Someone sent you a letter and asked me to deliver it, the waiter said. The other party said that this is the ultimatum from the Claryman family. Please take a look. Oh. Xiao Chun took the letter, opened it and glanced at it. Then he said, Wait, don't go yet. Okay. Is there anything else, sir? The waiter asked quickly. I'll reply to them now. You can take it back for me. As Xiao Chun spoke, he took out the notebook on the shelf at the door and wrote 3 big words on it. I can't understand it. Okay. The waiter did not understand what Xiao Chun wrote, but he still nodded and took the letter away. Then, sir, I'll take my leave first. Oh, go ahead, Xiao Chun said in English. The waiter left. Soon, the Claryman family received Xiao Chun's reply. Looking at the 3 big words on the letter, the third elder was so angry that his teeth itched. He did not understand the Great Xiao language, but his subordinates nearby did. When he understood the meaning of these 3 words, he was furious. However, he still asked someone to write a new letter in English and sent it to Xiao Chun again. There was no need to be afraid of trouble for this kind of thing. Xiao Chun, what kind of letter did I send you just now? Why did you return it without reading it? Song Huo asked curiously after the waiter left. Oh, who knows? Who cares what it is? We have to be tough. The tougher we are, the more afraid the other party will be. If they take his crappy letter and ask you to translate it, wouldn't that make us look weak? Xiao Chun said indifferently. Okay. Song Huo nodded. The two of them did not speak much before the waiter came again. It had to be said that the third elder was quite efficient. Sir, I'm here to send you a letter again. This time, it's written in English. Take a look. The waiter handed the letter to Xiao Chun. Oh, let me see. Xiao Chun took the letter and looked at it. The entire letter was filled with threats without substance. The key was that if Xiao Chun left now, everyone would live in peace and mind their own business. However, if he did not leave, they would take measures and prepare to use firearms to blow up Xiao Chun. Huh? Xiao Chun stared. This Claryman family is quite tough, huh? Xiao Chun replied directly. Okay, I'll give you 3 days. If you don't hand over the encrypted chip, I will take coercive measures. After writing, Xiao Chun handed it to the waiter and asked him to take it back. This time, Song Huo also read the letter. Seeing that Xiao Chun was still so tough, she could not help but be a little worried. They won't really use firearms, right? If that's the case, won't we be no match for them? And so I won't give them a chance. I'll kill them first, Xiao Chun said. You? Kill them? A family? Song Huo was a little shocked and amazed. Is that true? You'll know when you see it. Xiao Chun smiled mysteriously. Soon, the third elder received a reply from Xiao Chun. This time, when he saw Xiao Chun's reply, he smiled coldly. Not only was he not angry, but he was also very happy. This Xiao Chun had been angered by him. It seemed that he would not leave the Claryman Hotel. This was great. He could blow him up directly. Thinking of this, The third elder directly replied to Xiao Chun and told Xiao Chun to leave within 5 days. If he did not leave, then he could not blame the Claremont family for being rude. The reason why it was 5 days instead of 3 was to show the Claremont family's magnanimity. Secondly, it was actually to leave a buffer period. They would use 5 days to empty the internal facilities of the hotel and let the guests check out. In the Claremont hotel system, the longest renewal period was 4 days. At that time, even if he wanted to renew, the hotel could refuse. However, it was not good to break the contract and let the guests leave. This had an impact on the Claremont family's reputation, because most of the people who came here were discussing business with the Claremont family. It was not good to offend the Claremont family directly. After all this was done, the third elder went to report to Old Claremont. Old Claremont looked at Xiao Chun's reply and could not help but frown. Third elder, he said that if we don't give him the encrypted chip in 3 days, he will take measures against us. Why do I keep feeling uneasy? Will something happen? This shouldn't be, right? It's just the two of them. No matter how powerful they are, they can't possibly come to our Claremont family, right? You have to know that our family has a lot of firearms. If he dares to come, I guarantee that he won't be able to return. It won't even take 5 days, and we won't have to destroy the building, the third elder said. Chapter 594. Well, that's true. However, pass down the order for the children and important figures of the family not to go out for the next few days. I'm afraid that the other party will take advantage of this, Old Claremont said. Also, regardless of whether the other party is threatening us or really going to attack us, you have to quickly set up some of the family's firearms. When they break in, you must ensure that they will not be able to return. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Third elder immediately nodded in response. Old Claremont was right. It was better to be careful and take complete countermeasures. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. The Claremont family did not send any more letters to Xiao Chun, nor did they hand over the encrypted chip. It seems that I can only take coercive measures. Xiao Chun sighed with some regret. This family is going to be destroyed. It's really sad. Do you really want to destroy the Claremont family? How are you going to do it? Song Huawu was a little surprised. She did not know how Xiao Chun could be so confident. Just wait and watch the show. As Xiao Chun spoke, he opened the window of the room, then sat cross-legged on the bed and began to prepare. Xiao Chun wanted to condense a few Samadhi True Fire fireballs, which consumed more vitality. Moreover, one fireball was fine, but a few would take a certain amount of time. In particular, Xiao Chun had to wrap the Samadhi True Fireballs with vitality so that they would not fuse together. Only when he used them would the vitality break open and burn on a large scale. After spending about an afternoon, Xiao Chun successfully condensed 10 fireballs. Then he called out to the divine sense space, "Little demon, and come out and do something." "Master, I'm coming." And Xiaoma flew out. "I'll give you 10 fireballs. Take them to the Claremont family and start with the arsenal and places with firearms. You can throw the rest evenly in the Claremont family's house," Xiao Chun said. "Okay." And Xiaoma was naturally not afraid of the Samadhi True Fire. It was refined by the Samadhi True Fire. After receiving the fireball, and Xiaoma happily hugged the fireball and flew out of the window in the dark of the night. Sigh, when will I be able to leave this kid and work alone? To think that I old demon fire wolf was such a powerful existence, but now I have become a laborer, really. And Xiaoma thought as he flew, but he also knew that he could not leave Xiao Chun now. He had to rely on the nourishment in Xiao Chun's spiritual sense space to survive. Xiao Chun controlled his spirit and could destroy him at any time. Flying to the top of the Claremont family's house, and Xiaoma scouted a few times according to the map he had seen before. He was not in a hurry to make a move. This was his first time doing a mission on his own. He had to leave a good impression on Xiao Chun. Only capable subordinates would be appreciated. If he was useless, he suspected that Xiao Chun might kill him directly. After a few rounds of reconnaissance, and Xiaoma was amused. The entire underground of the Klarman family was a huge arms warehouse. Of course, with the defense of the arms warehouse, it was absolutely impossible to detonate it under normal circumstances. However, Xiaoma was a spirit and could come and go unhindered. He placed the true Samadhi fireball in a secret place. He patrolled back and forth a few times, then chuckled and began to act. Boom, boom, boom. The first explosion site was the core of the Klarman family's power. It was the residence of old Klarman, the Great Elder, the Second Elder, and the Third Elder. This area was located in the middle of the Klarman family. And Xiaoma ignited the true Samadhi fire in the middle of the arms warehouse. After igniting it, Xiaoma ran away. He was a spirit, and was not even afraid of the true Samadhi fire. Why would he be afraid of the explosion of gunpowder? It would not cause him any harm at all. He shuttled back and forth, and began to throw the true Samadhi fireball to every corner of the Klarman family. In an instant, the Klarman family was on fire, and the sound of explosions was endless. Originally, the Klarman family would not have been destroyed so easily. However, in order to blow up the building and defend the family, they had deliberately mobilized a lot of explosives and weapons from the outside, and temporarily stored them in the house. In the end, it was a tragedy. All the core forces of the Klarman family were annihilated in the explosion. Even the servants and disciples were not spared. There were too many flammable and explosive items in the family, especially under the burning of the true Samadhi fire. It was indestructible. The iron shell and steel shell bombs and bullets were also directly ignited and exploded. After doing all this, Xiaoma turned to the secret room, where the encrypted chip was stored with satisfaction. He had already scouted this secret room, and confirmed that the encrypted chip was here. Therefore, he deliberately took a detour here. This place had not been completely destroyed, but the house had collapsed. He quickly found the encrypted chip, and then left the Klarman family in a blaze of fire. He went back to report to Xiaochun, and Little Demon quickly returned to the hotel room. Before that, Song Huawu had already felt the powerful aura of the explosion. At this moment, even the hotel felt a slight earthquake. "You're back." Xiaochun glanced at Xiaoma and asked lightly. "Yes, master. I didn't let you down. It's done. This is the encrypted chip." And Xiaoma carefully handed the encrypted chip to Xiaochun like he was presenting a treasure. "Well, you did well. Go back. It seems that you still have some use," Xiaochun said. "Yes, master." And Xiaoma went back with a whoosh. He thought to himself, "Master really thinks that I'm useless. Fortunately, I showed my prowess once. Otherwise, I'd be screwed. This master is moody and kills without batting an eye. He might even kill me." Just now, Song Huo already knew what Xiaoma was. Although she did not know the specifics, she knew that he was one of Xiao Chen's more magical subordinates. Those explosions were. And that's right. I guess the Claryman family is gone. Xiao Chen nodded and said. As soon as Xiao Chen finished speaking, sirens could be heard in the town. Police cars and fire trucks were quickly heading to the Claryman family. But it was useless for them to go. Under the Samadhi true fire, nothing would be left. Xiao Chen, you're actually so powerful? You can destroy a family with just one subordinate? Then why are you afraid of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Song Huawu was a little shocked. I can't burn the Supernatural Investigation Bureau too, right? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Besides, this is also the advantage of the Claryman family's arsenal. If they didn't have the arsenal, there would be no effect. I asked Xiaoma to burn their arsenal, and they were all wiped out. Otherwise, wouldn't they have run when they saw the fire? I see. Song Huawu nodded. But I feel that you seem very strong. That's why I'm called Xiao Chong. Xiao Chen said. Oh, then are you also very strong in bed? Song Huawu suddenly asked. Puffed. Xiao Chen looked at Song Huawu, and didn't know what to say. Huawu, although we are quite good, we can't always joke around like this. What if it turns out to be true? I don't think you dare to, Song Huawu said. All right, let's pack up and leave this place quickly. Xiao Chen had obtained the encrypted chip. The mission was completed, so he naturally wouldn't stay here any longer. We will leave by boat tomorrow. Song Huawu nodded and said. Do you need to call Deputy Bureau Chief Xia to report the situation? I'll do it. Xiao Chun took out his cell phone and was about to make the call. However, just as he took out his cell phone, it rang. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia? Xiao Chun picked up the phone in surprise. The caller was Xia Zhili. Young Jiannan, you and Hua did well this time, didn't you? You were the one who blew up the Claryman family, right? You guys are really amazing. And you didn't let us down. Xia Zhili's hearty laughter came from the other side of the phone. And, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, how did you know? Xiao Chun was a little puzzled. It had only been less than an hour, and Xia Zhili already knew about it. He still had a news channel here. This is the era of the internet. We also have people monitoring the situation on your side. The Claryman family was blown up, so naturally, someone posted it on the internet. It was faster than the news. Xia Zhili smiled and said, Jiannan, you're not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to get some weapons in an unfamiliar place and blow up the Claryman family. It was just a fluke. The Claryman family is in the arms business. We disguised ourselves as other merchants and bought from them, Xiao Chun said perfunctorily. Wonderful, too wonderful, Xia Zhili said. This time, in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, let's see who still dares to question me. I will add this great credit to my report. You guys have done a great job this time. This is also a deterrent to other forces who covet our research base. Let them see how powerful the agents of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau are. They will be punished no matter how far they are to steal our research data. It's all thanks to Deputy Bureau Chief Xia's nurturing, Xiao Chun said quickly. And Jiannan, the credit this time will not go unnoticed. Xia Zhili said. As long as the opportunity is right, I will suggest that you be promoted to Team B's deputy team leader to take over. Thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Xiao Chun said this, but he was depressed in his heart. When could he cancel the wanted order? Damn, this credit did not benefit him at all, because he would eventually have to leave this identity. In the end, it would benefit that old man Xia Zhili. Okay, you guys pack up and come back. By the way, did you get the encryption chip or did you destroy it? Xia Zhili asked. I got it, Xiao Chun said. And very good. This is another great credit. Xia Zhili said happily. There is only one copy of this chip. Although destroying it will prevent it from leaking, we won't have it for ourselves. It's great that you can get the chip back. Chapter 595. It was just a fluke. Xiao Chun did not want to talk about the details. Talking too much would lead to mistakes. Okay, I'll teach you Qinggong when I get back. Xia Zhili hung up the phone. Xiao Chun shook his head and said to Song Huawu, that old thing wants me to be the deputy team leader of Team B. I'll try to get you the position of team leader of Team C. Ami? Song Huawu was stunned. Can I? By the way, why don't you think of a way to cancel the wanted order? I tried once before, but that old thing did not agree. If I continue to talk about this, he will probably be suspicious. I have to find an opportunity. Xiao Chun was also very depressed and had a headache. However, it was also a good thing to be able to go to Team B. Team B had much more authority than Team C. They could even request to read some internal files of the Warrior Guild. Xiao Chun wanted to see what kind of trial mission his father had done that caused him to be completely annihilated. This file had always been sealed. At that time, the Xiao family had asked many times, but they had not been able to access it. Even the president of the Warrior Guild in Songning had lost this authority. There must have been a big force behind the scenes. Otherwise, it would not have happened. Although the Claryman family was powerful in this area, it would also attract the hatred of other families and ordinary people in the town. Therefore, his death did not cause any big waves. Even the second largest family nearby came the next day. Under their control and intervention, the Claryman family's incident was turned into an explosion caused by their own family's arsenal being improperly taken care of. They had no one to blame but themselves. As for who the real murderer behind the scenes was, not only did this family not seek revenge, but they were also secretly grateful. If it were not for this person, the Claryman family would not have been completely annihilated, and their family would not have been able to rise to power. However, What surprised Xiao Chun was that the Claryman Hotel did not become chaotic because of this. It seemed to have been controlled by the new family. This was because when Xiao Chun and Song Huawu left, they still had to go through the checkout procedures and did not leave directly. However, this wasn't what Xiao Chun was concerned about. After checking out, Xiao Chun and Song Huawu took a boat back to the Lego Sea and prepared to return to Great Xiaolan City. The journey was uneventful. When Xiao Chun and Song Huawu left Lan City Airport, they saw that Xia Shibin was already waiting there. When he saw them coming out, he immediately came over to welcome them. "Leader Yang, you're back. Congratulations." "Well, what's the matter?" Xiao Chun was surprised to see Xia Shibin here. "Deputy Director Xia is here and is at the research base. He asked me to pick you up and rush over immediately," Xia Shibin said. "All right, let's go." Xiao Chun nodded and left the airport with Xia Shibin. They got into a business car and went to the research base together. The current research base was deserted. The researchers were temporarily on vacation, so other than the patrolling security guards, no one else was here. On the way to the conference room in the main building of the office building, they pushed the door open and saw Xia Zili sitting in the main seat. Beside him was a middle-aged man with a kind face and a pair of eyes that looked like an old pedant. However, upon closer inspection, he looked somewhat similar to Grandpa Su. "Jiannan, you're back. That's great." Xia Zili stood up and walked over enthusiastically. This time, Xiao Chun had made a great contribution to him, so he naturally had to express his gratitude. "Deputy Director Xia, this is all my duty. You don't have to do this," Xiao Chun said politely. "This must be Mr. Xiao Chang. I've heard about you from my daughter Chuxia. Thank you so much this time." The middle-aged man also came over and said enthusiastically, "Let me introduce myself. I'm the person in charge of the research base, Suinda. Previously, I troubled you to take care of my daughter and parents. Then, I troubled you to go all the way to Lego Town to snatch the encrypted chip back. I really don't know how to thank you." "Professor Su, you're too serious." Xiao Chun smiled. "It's nothing serious. However, I'm just a professor in the research base. There's nothing I can thank you for. Why don't I marry my daughter to you?" Suinda looked at Xiao Chun with a smile. "Uft." Xiao Chun coughed violently. "Haha, I'm just joking. I know that you and Sour are close. In the future, even after this mission is over, you have to visit my house often. My parents and Chuxia's best friend Sour are all looking forward to your visit," Suinda said with a smile. Xiao Chun was shocked and wiped his sweat. This Suinda's words were really. He didn't sound like a pedant at all. He actually knew how to joke around. Xia Zili laughed and said, "Jiannan, it's almost the new year. I'll give you a holiday. You can go back to your family in Songning. There's already some progress on what I promised you. Don't worry. After the new year, it will definitely be in place." "Thank you, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, for your guidance." Xiao Chun nodded. He didn't care about his promotion at all. However, the fact that he could return to Songning made Xiao Chun a little excited. He hadn't gone back for a long time. "And I think Hua Hua cooperates well with you. This time, she will also go back with you," Xia Zili said with a smile. He could already see that this time, Song Huawu's attitude towards Xiao Chun was a little different. Of course, Song Huawu didn't deliberately hide it. She appeared very natural. Therefore, Xia Zili thought that the two of them developed feelings for each other during the mission together. He was also very happy. Song Huawu had never been on his side. If Yang Jiannan took care of her, then Song Huawu would take over as the team leader of Team C. Although he would improve his ranking and become the deputy bureau chief in charge of Team B, he would still have great authority and control over Team C. He was a person who was greedy for power. Therefore, the situation in front of him made him very happy. He even wanted to remove the deputy team leader, who was in charge of Team C. At noon, Xia Zili held a celebration banquet. Xiao Chun, Song Huawu, and Xia Shibin all attended. After the meal, Xia Zili also had to go back. There were many things to do before the new year, and he still had to coordinate the promotion. On the other hand, Xiao Chun returned to his rented place. He planned to pack up and return the house. Song Hua-woo and Xia Shibin also had to pack up their things at the research base. Everyone agreed to meet at Xiao Chen's building that night and return to Songning City together. Looking at the familiar house, although he hadn't lived in it for long, many things had happened. He got to know Su Chuxiao and Tian Souring, and he met Wang Fengtian again. However, he still had to leave. When he went upstairs, Xiao Chun was surprised to find two people standing in front of his house. It was Su Chuxiao and Tian Souring. "Why are you guys here?" Xiao Chun was slightly surprised. "Xiao Chong, my dad said that you're back and that you're leaving. Souring dragged me back from school because he wanted to see you," Su Chuxiao explained. "Xiao Chong, you're leaving just like that? What if Sister Souring misses you?" Tian Souring was bold. He walked over and patted Xiao Chun. "You don't know this. After you confessed to Sister Souring, all the students in school were waiting for you to come back. In the end, you left. Sister Souring is so embarrassed. She just got a boyfriend and then disappeared. Ahem. I have a mission to complete." Xiao Chun smiled bitterly. "And this time, I'm going back to Songning." "Ah, you're leaving already." Tian Souring was a little disappointed. "I thought you could come back to continue school. Everything here is over." "Naturally, I can't stay here anymore," Xiao Chun said. "All right, Souring. Xiao Chong has his own things to do. Don't pester him anymore. Moreover, didn't you just want to experience the feeling of being chased? Now that you've experienced it, don't push your luck," Su Chuxia said. "Be careful not to fall into it." "Aya, how is that possible? Sister Souring just hasn't had enough fun." Tian Souring's eyes suddenly lit up. "Xiao Chong, why don't we have an online relationship? Is that okay? Let's meet in Weixin." "Okay, but I might not be able to log into Weixin anymore. I don't know what the next mission will be like," Xiao Chun explained. In fact, he didn't want Tian Souring to be too close to him. Xiao Chun had a bad feeling that his identity might be exposed. Although this was something that would happen sooner or later, this feeling was very strong. In Xiao Chen's opinion, perhaps because of his promotion, he couldn't wear Xiao Chong's mask anymore. At that time, there might be a problem with the mask. However, even though he knew that there might be a problem, there was nothing Xiao Chun could do. The mask could fool people's eyes, but it couldn't fool the camera. "Okay, then before we leave, Sister Souring will let you hug me," Tian Souring said with her eyes closed. Depressed was slightly stunned, but he still reached out and hugged Tian Souring. In fact, he felt that Tian Souring's personality wasn't bad. Although she always called herself Sister Souring, she was actually a very good girl. On the surface, she seemed to be a bit of a gold digger, but in reality, that wasn't the case at all. There were many rich people in New Moon Academy. If Tian Souring liked money so much, she would have become someone else's plaything long ago. She wouldn't have waited for Xiao Chun to appear. Tian Souring probably also knew that it was impossible for her and Xiao Chun to be together. She just wanted to experience the feeling of being in love. However, now that they were about to separate, it was also very uncomfortable. Su Chuxia stood at the side and gently held her forehead. No matter how she looked at it, she felt that Tian Souring was a bit lost. Fortunately, Xiao Chun was about to leave, and the two of them didn't have a chance to continue developing. Actually, even without the factor of Tian Souring's family, Su Chuxia didn't approve of Tian Souring and Xiao Chun being together, because the two of them wouldn't end up together. She was a more rational person. "All right, Souring, we have to go back to school." Seeing that Tian Souring was clinging to Xiao Chun, Su Chuxia tugged at her. "Oh, okay." Tian Souring was a bit reluctant to leave, but she still obediently let go of Xiao Chun. She looked back every few steps as she left with Su Chuxia. Xiao Chun took a deep breath and opened the door. He didn't know why, but at this moment, he felt empty and a little reluctant to leave. Was it because he couldn't bear to leave Tian Souring, or was it because of the life here? Chapter 596. Xiao Chun didn't know either. He simply packed up his things. In fact, it wasn't much. It was just a backpack. Xiao Chun locked the door and went to the agent to return the house. As for the extra rent, it didn't matter. After doing all this, Xiaochen saw Xia Shibin driving the car with Song Huawu to the community. Xiaochen got in the car, and the three of them drove to Songning. Looking at the community behind him for the last time, Xiaochen also understood that perhaps he would never come here again in his life. The three returned to Songning City early the next morning, but Xiaochen didn't dare to return directly to Cheng Minjing's villa. Instead, he went to Song Huawu and Xia Shibin's residence. He planned to settle down first. Xiaochen, what's your plan? Back in the room, Song Huawu changed into a set of home clothes and lay on the sofa casually. She asked Xiaochen, who was watching the news. I don't know. To be honest, I'm a little confused during this time. I don't know what to do next, but one thing is for sure. I guess my identity is going to be exposed. I can't keep wearing a mask. Xiaochen sighed. Now, I want to take advantage of my position to quickly investigate the disappearance of my father. After that, I think I may go to find my father. I said before that I would help you investigate, but Uncle Zhao's situation is a bit complicated. We don't have enough authority. At least we need Team B. Song Huawu nodded. But it shouldn't be that fast. Xia Shibin and I will help. We should be able to hold on for a while. I hope so. Xiaochen nodded. He didn't want to run away without preparation. To Xiaochen's surprise, he received a call from Xia Zhili early the next morning. His identity was now the deputy team leader of Team B of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Jiannan, I hope you don't let me down. My ranking has also been promoted. I am now the deputy bureau chief in charge of Team B. Of course, Team C will be handed over. Do you have any good candidates for Team C? Xia Zhili asked. My relationship with Hua Wu has been pretty good lately, and she's qualified enough. I think it shouldn't be a problem for her to be promoted to team leader of Team C. Xiaochen knew that Xia Zhili wanted to settle everything before handing over power. However, this method made Xiaochen speechless. Well, the leader of Team C can be Song Huawu. But what about the deputy leader? Do you have a good candidate in mind? Xia Zhili nodded. In fact, he was quite fond of Song Huawu. He just wanted to test Xiaochen and see what he thought. Sure enough, Xiaochen had also recommended Song Huawu. That meant that Xiaochen had already won over Song Huawu. Thinking of this, Xia Zhili was very satisfied with Xiaochen. He thought to himself, this young Jiannan is really good at picking up girls. In Lan City, he even picked up a girl named Tian Sour. Deputy leader, let's go with that Xiao Meng. Xia Shibin's qualifications are still not enough. If we promote him, there will probably be objections. Also, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, I think we should balance things out. If the person replacing you finds out that the entire Team C is not his people, do you think he will take the opportunity to replace you? If Hua Wu is replaced, it won't be good. Xiaochen reminded. Oh, Jiannan, you're right. Xia Zhili was stunned. He was too involved in the situation to see clearly. He had already been blinded by victory. Because of the encryption chip, he had been in the limelight in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Now that he thought about it carefully, it was indeed true. If the deputy bureau chief did not have any control over Team C, he would definitely take the opportunity to cause trouble. On the contrary, if he was given the position of deputy leader, he probably would not say anything. After all, Song Huawu was previously the deputy leader. Moreover, she was one of the top deputy leaders. It was only natural for her to take over the position of leader. There was no problem, and he couldn't deny it. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, please consider it. I was just giving you a suggestion, Xiaochen said respectfully. And alright. I'll get Xia Shibin to pick up your and Hua Wu's new documents in a while, and send them over to you. During this period, have a good rest. There will definitely be a mission after the new year. Xia Zhili said. I understand. Xiaochen nodded. After hanging up the phone, Xiaochen told Song Huawu about Xia Zhili's intentions. Song Huawu did not expect things to happen so quickly. Moreover, she was actually going to be the Team C leader. One had to know that there was a huge difference between a team leader and a deputy team leader. If she had the identity of a team leader, perhaps the strength of her words at the previous summit would be different. At noon, Xia Shibin returned with 2 IDs. One was Xiao Chen's, and the other was Song Huawu's. It was worth mentioning that, for some unknown reason, Xia Shibin had two photos on his IDs. One was of Yang Tan himself, and the other was of Xiao Chang wearing a mask. Moreover, behind Yang Jiannan's name, there was also the word Xiao Chang, in parentheses. This was a good thing. Xiao Chen was not in a hurry to take off his mask, and continued to pretend to be Xiao Chang. In fact, this was because the credit this time was established by the identity of Xiao Chang. Now the identity of Xiao Chang was even more famous than the identity of Yang Jiannan. When Xia Zhili walked to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's headquarters and mentioned Yang Jiannan, others might not know, but when he mentioned Xiao Chang, everyone knew that he was the great hero who had found the encrypted chip. In the beginning, this was a name used by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau when they announced the commendation. This was because Xiao Chang was written in Dr. Su's thank you letter. Everyone's first impression of him was Xiao Chang. Therefore Xia Zhili, who was such a pretentious and flamboyant person of course, would do everything possible to let everyone see his credit. Hence, he directly recorded the identity of Xiao Chang in Yang Jiannan's file. This way, Xiao Chang would become a real identity. At least there was a file. Xiao Chen looked at his documents, and was somewhat surprised. This way, all his previous worries were gone. Even if he wore the Xiao Chang mask, others would think that he did not take it off because of the mission. Song Huawu grabbed Xiao Chen's documents and looked at them. When she saw Xiao Chang's photo next to it, she couldn't help but smile. It seems that your identity is confirmed. You don't have to worry about anything in the future. Yes, but so what? Xiao Chen shrugged. At most, it's another identity, but it's not my own identity. Then, do you want a date? Song Huawu asked. Date what? Xiao Chen was stunned. Date. Get lost. In the future, we'll do missions together. Song Huawu smiled. We're not in the same team anymore. How can we do missions together? Xiao Chen asked. You'll know when the time comes. Although I'm a team leader, I don't think I'll be of much use. Song Huawu shrugged and said. Just like what you said just now, I'm already considered to be on your side. That means that I'm on Xia Zhili's side. The new deputy director will probably use a deputy team leader. And I don't have anything to do. It's better to form a team with you. Then, find a chance to transfer me to Team B and wait for you to take over as team leader. Gosh, you're thinking too far ahead. It's hard to say if I can do it until then. Xiao Chen sighed. Oh right, you stay at home. I'll go out and take a look at the warrior guild. Oh, you're going to investigate your father? Song Huawu immediately guessed Xiao Chen's intention. But on the surface, I'm going to see Chen Huanling. He's Yang Tan's father. I have to show my face no matter what, Xiao Chen said. I know the relationship between Yang Tan and Chen Huanling. They don't have a good relationship. Yang Tan doesn't like Chen Huanling. The two of them have a similar cooperative relationship on the surface, Song Huawu explained. And I understand. Xiao Chen nodded and said, I'll go and take a look. Do you need me to accompany you? Song Huawu asked. Even if your relationship with me has eased, it's not good for you to always be by my side. This isn't your personality. Xiao Chen quickly refused. I'm afraid that someone will suspect something. This has always been my character. Song Huawu smiled and said, Let me tell you, I'm actually very clingy. I didn't have anyone to be clingy before. But now I like to be clingy to you. Xiao Chen looked at Song Huawu. He didn't know whether she was telling the truth or not. I'm just doing missions with you to get experience. I'll be promoted quickly. Maybe in a few years, I'll be deputy director Song. Even if something happens to you, I can cover you secretly. Song Huawu said proudly. Well, that's what you mean. Then I'm leaving. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and went out the door. Walking on the streets of Songning City again, Xiao Chen had a feeling that it was a lifetime ago. It hadn't been long since he left, but in his memory, it seemed to be too long. Thinking of himself and Tang Tang selling breakfast on the morning market street, Xiao Chen was filled with emotions for a while. I don't know how Lin is doing. Will she be in trouble again? Xiao Chen wasn't worried about others. But Lin seemed to be particularly unlucky and liked to be in trouble. It was already the end of the new year. and the streets of Songning City were bustling. When passing by the morning market street, Xiao Chun got out of the car and walked into the morning market street. At this time, there were people coming and going. There were many stalls selling New Year's goods. Most of the vendors who usually sold other things temporarily changed their business to sell New Year's goods. There was a New Year's atmosphere here. Xiao Chun couldn't help but think of the Xiao family's New Year's situation. How did the Xiao family spend it every year? Xiao Chun thought about it. Perhaps in his memory, the New Year's of the Xiao family stayed at the time when he was young. At that time, his father was still alive and had not disappeared. Every year at the end of the new year, his father would take him and Xiao Xiao out to buy New Year's goods and firecrackers. At that time, although Xiao Chun also exercised every day, he didn't have as many worries as when he grew up. Xiao Xiao didn't neglect him either. She still stuck to him and followed him, just like Song Huawu now. So Xiao Chun thought that Song Huawu was an orphan since childhood and had a brother complex. She felt like a big brother looking after her, and she liked this feeling. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.